the Kentucky Mavericks take on the Rochester Razorsharks. If you're looking for a fun activity for you and your family, then check out the City of Owensboro's Edge Ice Center. The Edge offers public skating hours year-round, and it's a great place to host your child's next birthday party, youth group outings, or family get-together. Youth ice hockey, figure skating, and roller skate classes are also available. Conveniently located next to the Owensboro
At the end of the quarter,
the Edge Ice Center,
you'll have to twist this to the left. Left loosens, lefty tighty, righty. So then you just go up and look at the scoreboard, lock it. Then to loosen it to the left, come back down, tighten it back up. And all you do is go back and forth.
And then it just sets that it goes back to how do you do the full four at halftime? What are you doing?
Oh, just right here, your lens.
Do I need to do that?
Just go here, just twist it, and then just go right here.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Is the ultimate total body workout. Challenge yourself like never before. Go road at the Owensboro Health Park, the official health and fitness partner of the Kentucky Mavericks. The City of Owensboro reminds you to visit owensborocenter.com to stay up to date on great upcoming events at the Owensboro Convention Center.
Wrong way.
Hopefully no fights tonight.
I know, right? Especially between the coaches.
Don't let joint and muscle pain keep you on the sideline. Dr. Jody Mitchell can help you get back in the game. Sports injuries, work injuries, joint pain, or arthritis. Dr. Mitchell is ready to help. One Health Orthopedics, the official sports medicine provider of the Kentucky Mavericks. The game, ESPN Owensboro is your home for Mav Up with Coach T. The Coach Steve Tucker, head coach of the Kentucky Mavericks Coaches Show, has heard every Friday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. throughout the entire 2017 PBL season. Holiday Inn Owensboro Riverfront is Owensboro's newest convention hotel, located downtown along the Ohio River. Being the only full-service hotel in Owensboro, Holiday Inn features another Broken Egg Cafe. Contact the sales department today at 270-683-1111 for more information on group, room blocks, and meeting space rental. Holiday Inn Owensboro Riverfront is a proud sponsor and neighbor to the Kentucky Mavericks Training Center. Go Mavs!
All right. We give things situated.
Do you need some encouragement to reach your fitness goals? Personal training at the health park could be your answer. Their certified training
Hope they start filing in.
Yeah, no doubt. The NCAA is going to kill us. Tomorrow's going to be horrible. We go from Louisville, then UK.
Fitness partner of the Kentucky Mavericks.
Yeah,
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be dead.
Yeah, so we go right from Louisville, finishing up right before this. Kentucky starts about midway through this game. Or tomorrow's game.
It started at 1:40. So it'll be going on when this game starts.
Hey, you ready to do a quick test here?
Advertising agency based in Owensboro, Kentucky. The team at Tanner West.
Here we go. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2.
Website design, video production, and more.
Say it one more time.
Tanner West is also part of the team behind Owensboro.
A little bit. It might be a little hot, but okay.
And Go Business magazines.
Let me try one more time. Check 1, 2, 3. But it has a little bit of a buzz, you say, huh? All right, hold on a second. That make any difference? Did that make any difference?
WEHT is the Tri-State's most watched and trusted news. Eyewitness News is everywhere you are.
I'm trying to move the cables as far away as possible. Did that help any? Is it real minimal or what? Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, let me check something. I'll call you right back, okay? All right, bye.
What you got going on?
Well, we got a small buzz in there.
What's up? Doing all right? Awesome. You what?
I was here last year.
Oh, I got you. They were telling me who it was, but they didn't say the name. They just, yeah, I got you. I know, right?
I'm gonna come catch up with you guys at halftime, probably not long.
Awesome. Sounds good. We'll see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to stop by the concession stand located at the front entrance of the Sports Center for your hot dogs, drinks, and popcorn. Also, for our 21 and up Mavs fans, stop by and purchase your ice-cold beer. Don't forget to purchase your Kentucky Mavericks gear located at the north end of the court.
Buzz in the background, you said?
A little bit, yeah. Hey, I tried moving some of the cabling around to make sure the Marty wire wasn't near the power. Is it any better? Just a little bit though, but it got some of that buzz out of there. Okay, hang tight for 1 second. I'll be right with you. Let's go ahead and check one more time. Make sure the mics are okay. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3.
Are we hot or okay? Okay, I'll bring him down a little bit. Hang tight for 1 second. Gosh, damn it. right, we got a problem with the damn radio. It won't work all of a sudden, so I'm going to have to do everything off a timer. Yeah, would you hit me at 30 and just text me? All right, let me see here. Hold on 1 second.
Say the radio's not working?
Lights will go dim in approximately 1 minute.
Man, somebody messed up his fucking radio. I can't hear now. Really? Yeah.
You try pulling up the antenna? Is that doing anything?
No. See, it won't stay on. It's on power, but it won't stay on.
Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the protection of the players, officials, and fans. And in the spirit of good sportsmanship, the Premier Basketball League requests that you refrain from throwing any object at participants or onto the
Check. All right.
Such behavior
Okay, Sam.
serious injury.
What we're going to have to do is go ahead and bring the intro up, exit out of the NCAA screen,
Going onto the court or interrupting play in any manner will be
then bring up Kentucky Mavs.
We thank you for your cooperation. Also, restrooms are located.
All right, now go ahead and fire it off, and let me know when he stops talking, and then I'll just hang up and go from there. And if you'll just text me at the 30-second mark, please.
Sports Center is a non-smoking facility. Please be respectful of that.
Yeah. Just let me know when Rob does the intro, then I'll start talking, and after that on the commercial breaks, please text me at 60, okay? Go ahead and fire it off, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Owensboro Sports Center. Kevin Porter, James Herzog, the voices of Kentucky Mavs basketball, and we are back after a 2-week layoff, my man James. Feels like we're still getting our legs underneath us again, but, man, I'm feeling good about our Kentucky Mavs, even though they have just come off of their second loss of the season, a 10-point loss, 102-92, to the Ohio Bootleggers.
Yeah, man, those bootleggers, they've been giving us trouble all year. I mean, this is the 5th time we've seen them, so the teams are definitely familiar with each other, but the Mavs have a great chance tonight to regain that top spot in the league against the Razorsharks.
And that's what it's all about. Folks, our Kentucky Mavs broadcast as the drive for their 5th national championship for the 2017 season is being brought to you all season long, courtesy of our friends at Shorts Heating and Cooling, the official sponsor of Kentucky Mavericks and home of the best price guarantee. We have some of our great friends from Shorts Heating and Cooling that are with us today, sitting at our corporate table, none other than David and Deborah Creamer. We have the Craig family, Mike, Nikki, Ivy, Jesse, and Rose. A big shout out to everybody at Shorts Heating and Cooling for helping us to bring you our broadcast of Kentucky Mavs basketball. Now we are on our we only have 4 games left, James.
Yep.
3 of them at home, luckily. And we're going to have a lot more to come tomorrow. 4 p.m. we host the Chautauqua Hurricane right here. Now, folks, you got no excuse because we know we have the early morning, we have the Louisville game.
Yep.
Then we have Kentucky Mavs, and you have plenty of time to get home to watch the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, it's going to be a basketball-filled day. Definitely a lot to watch, but also with the Mavs here facing off against the Hurricane, a good chance to get out and actually catch some basketball in person here in Owensboro.
Now, right now, folks, our Kentucky Mavs are a half game back of the team we're playing tonight. The Rochester Razorsharks, a team we've beaten twice already. This will be the tiebreaker for first place in the Premier Basketball League. But I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to one of our most loyal and faithful listeners and a great friend of head coach Steve Tucker of our Kentucky Mavericks, head coach, our coach, Gerald Oliver, formerly of Marquette and spent many a year in the NBA as well. Coach Oliver, thank you as always for listening to our broadcast. And one of these days, my friend, we're going to get you to one of these Kentucky Mavs game. As we said earlier, James, our Mavs are coming off of a 10-point, 102-92 loss to the Ohio Bootleggers. And you play a team 6 times in one season. It's tough to beat them that many times.
Yeah, and even if they weren't a good team, they actually are a good team. They have 2 of the top scorers in the league, in Cody Ballard and Brett McKnight. So it's always just a tough matchup against them, and you never know when they can light it up. And they just took over that game, and we just couldn't come back.
And we have a very special night as well tonight for all Kentucky Mavs fans, especially the Kentucky Mavs family, as only the 2nd player in Kentucky Mavs history, Alex "The Ticket" Sanders, formerly of U of L, played under Denny Crum, is going to have his number retired right here before the start of the game now. Our man, Alex "The Ticket" Sanders, he hails from Houston, Texas. Of course, he played at U of L for legendary coach Denny Crum. Coming to the Mavericks in December of 2008, he was an immediate impact player, starting every game after signing with the Mavs at a swing forward position. In his first season, he helped lead the Mavs to a 27-2 record and an appearance in the championship playoff. He was a part of all 4 of the Mavs championships, as well as 4 consecutive pro NBA championships, playing power forward and center. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just one of those legacy players. When you think of guys like coming out of the NBA, like Tim Duncan, who were on that team with all those championships, that's just the kind of guy that Alex Sanders was here. Big contributor, brought all those championships to the Mavericks, and now to be helping out in the coaching staff, he's just a great guy to have around.
Well, yeah, if you want somebody who's helping you out on the post, you want one of the all-time greats who's somebody played D1 and really knows the technique and the art of actually playing a post position.
Yeah, he's no short on knowledge when it comes to basketball and specifically playing in the post. And it always helps to have guys like that around the team just to give bits of knowledge anytime that they can.
All right, folks, it is our Kentucky Mavs playing the Rochester Razorsharks for first place in the PBL. Now we're going to take a very quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to give you the starting lineups as our Kentucky Mavs play host to the Rochester Razorsharks. Folks, you got time to get down here. The stands are filling up, about 2,500 people on hand, but you got plenty of room. Folks, you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball, and we'll be back in 2 minutes right after this.
Special presentation.
Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog, very honored to be able to call ourselves the voices of Kentucky Mavs basketball. It's our Mavs and the Rochester Razorsharks doing battle for the #1 position in the PBL. We've only got 4 games left in the regular season, James. A lot of great activity to come. But don't forget, tomorrow we'll be back in action. Back-to-back days hosting the Chautauqua Hurricane.
Yeah, it's crunch time coming down here to the last few games of the season. We've had some teams make their way and stand out as the clear playoff runners coming down to the end of the season. And it's just going to be a great weekend of basketball. Get the Razorsharks tonight and then have another one here coming in tomorrow.
Now, we were a little late getting on the air because, of course, we had to retire the number of Alex the Ticket Sanders, number 50, a part of all 4 national championships for the Mavs. All right, let's go ahead and run down the starting lineups. For the Rochester Razorsharks, Corey Allman, Jarice Crouch, Rashard McGill, Mevin Council, and Jordan Rayleigh. For our Kentucky Mavs, Anthony the Jet Jackson, Nicholas Waddell, Robert Crawford, Jackie Butler, and new signee Chris Hagan, 5'11" guard out of Midwestern State University, wearing number 20. Our Mavs will be going right to left on your radio dial. Conversely, left to right. For the Rochester Razorsharks, Mavs wearing white with blue trim down the side and red shoes. And blue for the Rochester Razorsharks is Jackie Butler and Bailey. Bailey controls the tip, gets the ball into the hands of Jarice Crouch. That man way long across pass to Crouch, who goes for the 3. It's missed, rebounded, ends up in the hands of Bailey. Back out to Crouch, pulls up 3. The Rochester Razorsharks start off striking first. 3-0 lead to start this game.
And they got to be careful with Jarice Crouch not to let him go on, because if you remember last time, a month ago, when the Razorsharks were in here, he gave them a lot of fits and potentially brought them back into that game, although the Mavs held on for the win.
And it's AJ, the Jet. He for 3 to answer back. No, but rebound into the hands of Nicholas Waddell. Now Waddell working on the low block. Kicks it back out to the Jet. Thinks about working the perimeter, but he has got that man on top of him that was like flies on flypaper. I cannot remember my analogy for a minute there. Ends up getting smacked away. We have a tie-up on the floor. We will have a jump ball. Nope, he got the ball and called a timeout instead. They did give the timeout to the Rochester Razorsharks. All right, folks, what we're going to do is we'll take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break. When we return, oh, no, we're going to stay right here because they changed it to a 20-second timeout. All right. So one more time, let's go over the lineups. Everything's a little flustered tonight, folks, as we had a kind of a delay in the actual start of the game with the retiring of the tickets numbers. And they're looking a little out of sync on the floor, Kentucky Mavs.
Yeah, I know it's been a couple weeks since they've been home here back in the Sports Center, so they're just going to have to get their feet underneath them. And again, coming off only their second loss of the season just a few days ago. So they're going to have to come together here and pick things up.
The Mavs, as we said, are going right to left on your radio dial, wearing white, blue stripes down the side, red tennis shoes, all blue for the Rochester Razorsharks with black stripes down the side and black high tops going right now on the floor. We are only 1 minute into the contest, and it's only 3-0 Rochester. That man, number 4, Jarice Crouch, missed on a 12-footer, rebounded, but ends up in the hands of Allman, another one of their dangerous players who scored a lot. He drops it down low to Bailey in the paint. Rayleigh, I apologize, converts. And just like that, Rochester is up 5-0. 10:42 remaining in the first quarter.
And the Mavs really got to pick it up. The Razorsharks getting pretty much anything they want as they come away with the steal right there.
Steal by canceled, but stolen right back by the Jet. The Jet on the run out, gets it over into the hands of the new man, Chris Hagan. Gets it over to Butler, pulls up for a 10-footer. No, rebound, Waddell. Fighting underneath, gets it stripped out of his hands. Off the knee, out of bounds off Waddell. Turnover to the Rochester Razorsharks. And I'm hoping that the tough time they had where they just could not get in sync Thursday night at Ohio, that's not some kind of a hangover.
Yeah, I know, and I spoke with General Manager Gary Green before the game, and he got the newcomer Chris Hagan already coming into the starting lineup, and of course he's not new to the Mavericks as he's played for them before, and he's just supposed to be a good leader, and hopefully he can get this team going tonight and get back on the winning streak.
Back on the attack, going left to right. It is the Razorsharks. McGill pulls up in the free throw line for 2, missed, but a tap back by Rayleigh, but he cleared out the new guy. Hagan called for the offensive foul. Turnover back to our Kentucky Mavs. 10:05 remaining in the first quarter. Still Rochester leading 5-0 over our Kentucky Mavs.
Yeah, you got to get settled in here, get something on the board. run a play. They got motion coming up here. Let's see if they can get something, work the ball, and get a good shot that they want.
Hagan running the point for the Mavs right now. Waddell with the inbounds, gets a high screen to Crawford. Crawford goes across, but back into the hands of the Jet, tries to drive into the lane. He is hit hard by Crouch, but they call the offensive foul, so the Jet ran into him. We're seeing a lot of out-of-sync play right now, James.
Yeah, it stepped on the out-of-bounds line there, just wasn't ready for the contact, and that's not likely for the Jet. He's usually going straight at that contact and taking it with everything he's got. So it's they got to pick it up here. It's a little slow right now, a little lackadaisical.
Rayleigh down low against Butler with the turnaround from 4 feet, missed, rebound in the hands of Crawford. Ups it to the Jet. The Jet into the paint, gets knocked down. Knocked down by, looks like Allman knocked him down. No, I'm sorry, McGill, Rashard McGill. Non-shooting foul. The Mavs will have the ball on the side out. Jet getting up a little gimpy. Now, we don't want to know one of those games where the Jet gets knocked down 3 or 4 times. We've got to have the Jet.
I know, it's early, a couple of minutes here in the game, and he's already taken a couple of big hits. Luckily, they called the foul on that one, so hopefully that'll help him strive away from that.
Jet inbounds to Hagan. Hagan into the paint, throws it up. Hail Mary, he will be going to the line for 2.
Yeah, good to see him attack the basket. If you can't get anything going on offense attack, maybe get something going from the free throw line. You just gotta see that ball go in the hoop. It seems like sometimes there can be like a mental block, but once they see that go through, I think it'll open things up.
Right now, the Rochester Razorsharks have a half-game lead over our Mavs in the PBL, and this will be for first place. Our Mavs will be back in action tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. as Hagan puts up the first shot and off the back of the iron. Miss. Still 5-0. Rochester leading with 9:29 remaining in the first half. Now, do not forget, tomorrow, 4 p.m., we'll be back on the air at approximately 3:45 as our Mavs play host to the Chautauqua Hurricane. Hagan misses the second. They just cannot get it to drop. There was a fight for the ball between Waddell and Rayleigh. Off of Rayleigh, looks like. Yes, possession will remain with the Mavs. I got to tell you right now, everything on the floor seems to be all out of whack because even some of the referees look like they're having a hard time. And just like that, a bad inbounds pass ends up into the hands of Allman. Allman across the timeline. Thinks twice about going into the lane against Butler. Ends up in the hands of Council for 3, and bam, just like
I need a timeout here.
Yeah, time to settle down the Mavs because they are down 8-0, 9:10 remaining in the first quarter.
Coach T said, they're looking over at Coach T thinking he's going to call a timeout. He says, no, you guys got yourself in this situation. You got to fight through it and get yourself out.
Well, and sometimes that's the best way to do it. You know, actually play yourself out of a little bit of a slump.
Right.
Crawford for 3. Oh, off the front of the iron, rebounded by Rayleigh. Gets it up to Allman. Allman across the timeline. 4 Mavs across, but just like that, Hagan bumps into him. Very ill-advised bump. There's a foul on Chris Hagan against Allman for the Rochester Razorsharks. Now, currently, the way things stand in the PBL, our Mavs are at 12-2, with the Razorsharks at 13-2, a half-game deficit from our Mavs and the Rochester Razorsharks. McGill triggers the inbound, gets it into the hand of that man. If he gets hot, we do not need that. Crouch looking for us after a couple screens, gets it over to Allman. Allman down low to Rayleigh, working against Jackie Butler, former of the NCAA. Into the paint, turnaround, shoots, and he drains it, nothing but net. And just like that, the Mavs are down 10-0. 8:30 remaining in the first quarter.
It's a rough start. Mike Crane just into the game. Let's hope that he can provide some kind of spark and get them going here.
Butler working down low, ends up losing possession of the ball, ends up into the hands of Crane. Crane looks for a high screen from Butler, works down towards the baseline, pulls up for the 10-footer, misses. Rebound Waddell. Waddell at free throw line gives it back up to Hagan for 3 off the front of the iron, and the Mavs cannot buy a bucket right now.
And they need to get back on defense. It seems like the shot goes up, they're watching it, and just like that, oh, great hustle there.
Great block by Hagan. Crouch took it coast to coast. Hagan at 5'11" goes up for the clean block, but yeah, we thought it was clean, but he got called, and that's his second foul. We cannot have that on somebody new to the team that it's very integral to running this offense. And just like that, coach has seen enough. Ben Vizzola up off the bench will be coming in for the Kentucky Mavs.
Yeah, rough start here. I mean, he's got to find something, got to get somebody in there who's going to get this team going, and Ben Vizzola has been known to do that.
Oh, yeah, he is like instant energizer bunny. Crouch for the first of 2, he converts. 11-0, Rochester leading with 8:01 remaining in the first quarter. Folks, we want to remind you now, all coverage all season long is being brought to you courtesy of our great friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. Call them today at 270-691-1001 to schedule a maintenance check, and just like that, Crouch converts on the second. 12-0, our Mavs down 7:55 remaining in the first quarter, and Vizzola just in the lineup for three, off the back of the iron, hits the top of the backboard. Turnover to the Rochester Razorsharks.
Yeah, they gotta find something. It's their looks on their faces right now. They're just kind of almost confused and a little bit disgusted at the way they're playing, and they're just going to have to find some way to turn it around. And I think it really starts on the defensive end. You know, you normally have Josh Johnson and Robert Crawford in there getting it going with their length on defense, and they don't have that right now. As you see, the Razorsharks off a quick 12 points.
Gerard Devon into the game now. Right now it's the Jet, Gerard Devon, Nicholas Waddell, Mike Crane, and Ben Vizzola. Rochester going left to right back on the attack. Crouch thinks about a three, thinks twice, dumps it down low to the big man Rayleigh, working against Big G, Gerard Devon, into the paint, turnaround, missed, gets his own rebound, back up, the bank shot, no good, rebounded by Waddell to the Jet, who pushes across the timeline. We got two guys with hands up in the lane, but the Jet could not get the ball to him. Mike Crane thinks about three, pulls it back down, gets it to the right corner into the hands of Vizzola. Vizzola working around the timeline, looking to drop it down low to Gerard Devon, pulls around for two. Rims out into the hands of counsel for the Rochester Razorsharks, who almost throws it away, intercepted by Vizzola, but he ends up stepping on the out-of-bound line. Possession will remain with the Rochester Razorsharks.
And it just seems like there's a lid on the rim on this end of the court. Nothing's falling for them, and then they got a bailed out there that had a wide open Jordan Rayleigh underneath, and luckily the pass landed out of bounds.
Counsel with the ball up to the inbounds for the Razorsharks. Hits it down low to Crouch, pulls up for three. Off the back of the iron, rebound by Waddell. Waddell up to Vizzola, pushes it across the timeline. Ben Vizzola on the right side of the arc, pulls up for three. Off the front of the iron, no good. Rebound Rayleigh for Rochester, going left to right. On your radio dial, Counsel working the point up against Mike Crane, pulls up for three, and he scores.
They gotta have a timeout.
15 to nothing, 6:32 remaining in the first quarter. And with that, we're going to take time out for a 1 minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be right back. And welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog, the voices of Kentucky Mavs basketball, bringing you all the action as our Mavs, for the third time this season, are facing the Rochester Razorsharks. And right now, James, our Mavs can't buy a bucket. They look disjointed on defense even, and are down 15 to nothing with 6:32 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, and let's hope Coach T, like we know he is, got into him there in that timeout and just let him know that, I mean, a lot rides on this game. This is an important game, and you can't afford to come out here and just give the Razorsharks 15 points like that. I mean, we've beaten them twice already this season. I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but they're just not even looking like they're wanting any part of this game.
Yeah, they just look out of sync. Now, we do know, and I'm not making excuses for our Mavs, there was a virus to the team, so everybody's a little sluggish. But still, they literally just cannot buy a bucket with wide open shots. Mavs back on the attack, going right to left. Vizzola across the timeline into the hands of the Jet. Almost intercepted by Counsel, knocked out of bounds, but possession remains with the Mavs. 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock, 6:21 remaining in the first quarter.
And let's hope they can draw something up nice here. There's usually a good go-to out-of-bounds play that gets you set into an offense. As you see him setting baseline screens here.
Jet, top of the arc, gets the ball over to Vizzola, dumps it down low in the hands of Devon. Turned around, 8-footer, and finally, the Mavs are on the board. 15-2, Rochester leading by 13, 6:04 remaining in the first quarter. Folks, we want to remind you all season long, our coverage is being brought to you by our friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. And we got a bunch of Schwartz people here tonight. Big shout out to David and Deborah Kramer, Craig family, Mike, Nikki, Ivy, Jesse, and Rose, as well as that man, Coach Gerald Oliver, always listening to you. Coach, hope things are going well for you. Hopefully one of these days we'll get you to a Mavs game. Just like that, quick 2 points by Rochester. The Jet tries to answer back with a 3, misses into the hands of Council, leading everybody down the court for the easy lay-in. 19-2, Rochester leading the Mavs. Bazzola working against Council, or Allman, turns around for the high bank shot. That's what you want to see, a little energy from somebody like Bazzola that can really bring this team along with him.
Exactly, and he's doing it attacking the basket. You saw the Jet last there kind of throwing up a 3, but it's going to have to lead over to defense right now because they're getting beat on easy backdoor cuts and not getting back in transition, so they really got to string some stops together.
From the top of the key, it's Allman, missed, rebounded into the hands of Nick Waddell, pushes ahead to the Jet. He's got Gerard Devon streaking, but back out to the top of the key to Waddell for a 3, off the front of the iron. Rebound into the hands of Crouch, and the Mavs are just not getting any rebound on either end. Crouch, just like that, unopposed, end-to-end for the easy lay-in. Mavs down by 17, 21-4, Rochester leading. 4:40 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, and that's just it, Kevin. The Razorsharks are getting easy buckets, open layups, and then Mavs seems like they're having to do everything they can. Offensive rebounds there with Big G getting his own tip in. It's just the Mavs are having to work a lot harder to get their buckets when they really shouldn't have to.
21-6, Rochester leading, 4:19 remaining in the first quarter. This is for first place in the PBL. Now the Mavs are half a game behind only because Rochester has played one more game. There was a miss by Crouch into the hands of Big G, pushes it up to Vazzola. Vazzola gets into the lane, dishes it to Mike Crane, goes in, boom, there you go. That's what you want to see. 21-8. Mavs still down, but they're starting to get some offensive production.
Exactly. They got a lot of work to do, but that's definitely a good start.
And then Vazzola gives up the cheap foul. Don't want to see that. Don't give up cheap fouls right after you score.
Got to move your feet.
All right, we got a timeout on the court, and with that, we're going to take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the exciting action as our Mavs are battling for first place with the Rochester Razorsharks. James, great crowd on hand considering all the NCAA action going on. About 2,500 people. Now, we do have another contest tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m., hosting the Chautauqua Hurricane. Right now, our Mavs a little sluggish, down 21-8. 3:24 remaining in the first quarter, and it's just seems like there's just a lack of energy on behalf of the Mavs.
Yeah, but as the Jet wins its jump ball tip there, looks like they're showing a little bit more fight here, and hopefully they can get something going and give them a little spark to go on a nice run.
And Bazzola with a beautiful up and under. Mavs got the lead to 11. 21-10 for our Kentucky Mavs, still down by 11, but they're starting to show signs of life. Into the lineup for the Mavs is Josh Johnson, along with Gerard Devon, the Jet, Mike Crane, and Ben Vazzola. That man that's been tearing us up all game long, Rayleigh, down the lane, unopposed layup, gets his own rebound eventually, tries to power back up, but kicks it back out to Council, or McGill pulls up for 2, does convert. 21-10, Rochester leading our Kentucky Mavs. And Ben Vazzola kicks it down left low into the hands of Crane, back out to the left wing to the Jet, gets the high screen from Josh Johnson, down the right side of the paint, tipped in after the missed lay-in by the Jet. Big G with the putback. Mavs cut the lead to 11, 23-12.
And all started right there with the Jets splitting the double team. leaving him in the dust, getting right to the basket, and then there was nobody there to box out Big G, so he got the easy tip in. Let's hope they can start getting some stops here on defense.
We got a lot of great guards playing in the PBL, but nobody can match the speed and quickness of the Jet.
Exactly. He gets it done, and he's with the size that he has and all that speed, he still shows a lot of power as well as the Mavs. That was a shot clock violation there.
Rochester Razorsharks Hilton was not paying attention. Shot clock violation, turn over to the Mavs. We're going to take time out for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro, and we will be right back.
And advanced cardiology.
Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the exciting action as our Kentucky Mavs are in the middle of a battle royale against the first place Rochester Razorsharks. Our Mavs very sluggish to start off the contest. Right now down by 11. 23-12, still 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter, James.
Yeah, like we said, we got a long game ahead of us. Still plenty of time, and you like to see how the Mavs showed a little bit of fight there, drawing it to within 11. You know, that's all it takes. You can't get all those points back at once. You just got to chip away at it one possession at a time.
And that's the thing. It's all about composure when you're playing in the game. When you get behind quick, keep that composure. Folks, we want to remind you our coverage all season long is being brought to you courtesy of our friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. Call them at 270-691-1001 today to schedule a maintenance check. On the court for our Mavs, Ben Vazzola, Gerard Devon, Mike Crane, the new man, Chris Hagan out of Midwestern State University, and Josh Johnson, who normally is in the starting lineup, but today came off the bench. Mavs going right to left. Hagan running the point, gets the ball in the hands of Josh Johnson, who's working against McGill. Down the lane, blocked out of bounds. Possession remains with the Mavs, but they only have 11 seconds remaining.
I think he's saying it's Razorsharks.
He said it went off of him and turned over to the Razorsharks. Okay.
Tough call there. Not only did they not call a foul there, they said it was off Johnson as well, so it's not going well.
Ivy running the point for the Razorsharks, dumps the ball off to the right wing into the hands of one of the sharpshooters, Council. Gets a high screen with Helton. Helton working against Vazzola, almost has it stolen. Vazzola with the over-the-top block, and Gerard Devon to keep from falling out of bounds. Bounced it off the head as hard as you could off of Helton's head. No harm, no foul. It wasn't trying to hurt the guy.
Let's say he was trying to keep himself from falling out of bounds, but he might have just been taking out some frustration the way this game's been going.
As hard as he threw that ball at Helton's head, I can believe that. Hagan running the point. Gets the ball into the hands of Crane. To the way out NBA three from Zola off the front of the iron. But hits the top of the backboard, turnover to the Rochester Razorsharks. We have 1:11 remaining in the first quarter. How can I believe? I feel like I've called half a game already, James.
I know there's been a lot going on here with the Razorsharks getting off to that early lead. Great steal
by Hagan. He's behind the numbers 3-1, but goes in and blocked from behind by Coker. Now remember, Coker had last game and fouled, so Hagan will be going to the line. He was 0 for 2 his first trip, and his play has been limited because he got 2 quick fouls.
Yep.
So Coach has had to be very judicial with how much he has him in this contest.
And you're right there, as you started to mention, Del Coker last game was the one who got ejected, got into it. So
that's when things got ugly. He thought he could push around Jackie Butler, and that did not happen.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well for him, as we see new man Stan Simpson up off the bench coming into the game.
Former Lake Michigan Admiral, played with Nicholas Waddell. I just call him Nick. He doesn't like Nicholas.
There you go.
Not to mention Andrew Christian from last year's Lake Michigan Admirals, the team that actually eliminated us in our first playoff game of the 2016 season at the line for the Mavs. Chris Hagan with the Mavs trailing by 11. Hits both. Cuts the lead to 10. Mavs down 23-13. 56 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Ivy down the lane up against a much taller Stan Simpson and converts. 12-point lead for the Razorsharks. Hagan quickly across the timeline. 47 seconds remaining. 19 seconds on the shot clock. Hagan got a mismatch in size, has it stolen by Ivy, trying to feed it down low to Josh Johnson. Ivy's going to pull it back up.
Gets it out to Devereaux Briggs, normally known as a defensive specialist, but feeding in there to counsel for the mismatch.
Holmes goes up, it's missed, rebounded by Josh Johnson into the hands of Mike Crane. 21 seconds on the shot clock, 24, a 3-second differential on the game clock. Mavs down by 12. Mavs going to try and work the clock down. Crane working against Helton, who just took a batted ball off the head. He didn't get
Sure he still knows where it's
concussion
at.
issues. That's the main thing. Hagan working from the point, working against Ivy, and Ivy fouls him as he tries to head down the left side of the lane. Now, Ivy, if you remember, he was also one of the guys that got into a lot of the mess last time we played, and he had to be set down for about almost the entire second half of the contest.
Yeah, and that bode well for the Mavericks because he came in off the bench as a spark plug firing right away and hitting several threes.
6.9 seconds remaining on the game clock. Shot clock has been turned off. Possession with the Mavs, and now the refs are trying to figure everything out. Looks like
we have a bonus situation here.
Bonus situation, so it looks like we're going to have Hagan going to the line.
At the line to shoot 2.
He will have 2 shots to try to draw the Mavs within 10 points should he convert on both. Hagan sizes it up, lets it fly, and nice stroke there. Cutting the lead, 25-14, 9-point lead, or 11-point lead, I apologize, for the Rochester Razorsharks. Remember, we'll be back in action tomorrow, 3:45 pregame as our Mavs host the Chautauqua Hurricane. And like that, Hagan converts on both free throws, 10-point lead, 25-15. 3 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Ivy working against Josh Johnson, could not get the pass off in time. And at the end of one, Rochester leaves our Kentucky Mavs 25-15. We're going to take time out for a 90-second commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, my man, James Herzog bringing you all the exciting action as our Mavs are in a hard-fought contest tonight, facing the number 1 ranked Rochester Razorsharks. Right now, the Mavs are down 25-15. James, you've got a quick recap of the first quarter stats.
Yeah, it's looking a little rough, as you said, here for the Mavericks after that first quarter. I mean, the scoring, they're kind of getting it any way they can. Gerald Devon provided a nice spark off the bench there with 6 points and 4 rebounds. Waddell also always doing his thing on the rebounds with 6. And then for the Razorsharks, they're just having a great team game right now, getting any open shot they can. Melvin Council's leading the way with them with 8, but they're, like I said, they got great balanced scoring going on.
Mavs back on the attack, got Hagan, Corey Wilford, Stan Simpson, Josh Johnson, Andrew Christian, who drives in, but the ball is stripped as he goes in by Holmes, who gets to Ivy down the right side, but runs over Hagan and draws the offensive charge.
There's a moving screen there by our man Coker. He picked up his second foul, so that could be good for the
That's
for
good
the
for the
Mavericks.
Mavs. And right now we need all the good luck we can get because we are in a hard-fought contest, folks. Right now the Mavs are down by 10, 25-15. 11:34 remaining in the first half. Coach Tucker has spent more time off the bench than I have seen him all season long. He's trying any combination he can to get this going. Right now, the new acquisition, Stan Simpson working against down low Coker, misses the turnaround but ends up with the ball into his own hand, turns around again, Coker with a block. Every time a Mav turns around, there's a Razorshark in their face.
Yeah, and he was trying to get his newcomers going right there.
Biggs for three off the front of the iron, rebounded by Simpson, ends up in the hands of Josh Hagan on the breakaway. He 1-2 against Rochester, goes in, misses it, but almost rebounded by Hagan. Once again, Coker with the rebound, gets it over to Ivy. Ivy pushing up the left side of the floor, lays it off for McGill. McGill thinks twice. He's got Josh Johnson in his face. Gets the ball down low to Coker. Turnaround, 12-footer and in. Extending the lead to 12, 27-15. Mavs quick back on the attack. Wilford down the lane has the ball, knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. Possession will remain with the Kentucky Mavs. 18 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Yeah, and with those newcomers onto the team, trying to get them going, get them going here in the offense, and it's just not working. So you see Jackie Butler coming in there for Stan Simpson. So hopefully we can get something going here on offense and cut into this lead and get it down to single digits.
Corey Wilford triggers the ends bounds, gets the ball into the hands of Jackie Butler, who's been reinserted into the lineup, kicks it over to Hagan. Hagan working around the arc, kicks to the right side to Wilford, pulls up for three, off the front of the iron again, rebound by Holmes, gets the ball into the hands of number 25, Biggs. Biggs working against Hagan. Tries to drive into the lane, left side layup with the right hand, converts, extends the lead to 14, 29-15.
And there was no help defense there. Got around the newcomer Chris Hagan, and you should have a next line of defense there for the Mavericks that he ran into, but he didn't. He just had an open layup.
And just like that, Josh Johnson loses control against two of the Razorsharks, stripped away into the hands of Ivy, trying to drive it against Hagan, and turns around, and there's Butler, throws it up, but draws the foul, a cheap foul called against Butler, but a foul nonetheless. He will be going to the line. The good news is it's only Butler's first foul, but he looks like he's really sluggish tonight as well.
Yeah, he seemed exactly what he's seeming sluggish, looking a little exhausted as you see his hands resting on his knees. And right there, that's a tough call. I mean, Ivy driving in, out of control. Once he realized that he was running into Jackie Butler, thought twice, but was already in there, had to throw it up, and the refs bailed him out there, giving him the foul.
Yeah, I almost ran into him driving the other day, and it made my eyes go bug. So I was like, man, I can't imagine running into him in the lane.
Watch out.
Ivy converts on the first of two. Doubling up our Mavs, 30-15, 9:55 remaining in the first half. At the lane, Ivy looking to convert on the second one to extend the lead to 16. Should he convert? Ivy for the Rochester Razorsharks sizes it up. Let's fly, and good. 16-point lead, 31-15 for the Rochester Razorsharks.
Yeah, and you see them pick up in their press now that they have after the make. But I'd really like to see the Mavs work it in here to Nick Waddell, get him going, because once he gets going, he can be a force, and he can single-handedly bring a team back into the game.
Jett kicks it over to Josh Johnson, looks for the screen from Nick Waddell, who does a little give-and-go movement back to Josh, loses the ball again. Out of control, but this time it looks like Biggs was called for the foul. No, they called the foul on Josh Johnson.
Trying to get after the ball.
Wow.
And that man, Deverell Biggs, he's second in the PBL right now in steals, so he's all over the place there.
Turnover for the Kentucky Mavs, something they can't afford right now because they're having trouble with even just their ball handling skills, and I'm not used to seeing the Mavs looking like this, James.
I know, it's really tough. I mean, they're facing the #1 team in the league right now. As you see, Biggs hits a three right there. It's just they're going to have to get it together because this game, they've got a lot riding on this game, and they don't want to lose out on that 1 seed for the playoffs.
34-15, Rochester leading our Mavs. The Jet running the point, kicks it over to Vizzola, pulls up for three, and there you go. That's what you want to see because if Vizzola gets going, he brings the entire team along with him. Mavs leading our Mavs down 34-18, 9:02 remaining in the first half. Holmes drives into the lane, tries to drop it off.
No.
Sorry, Biggs tries to drop it off. Oh, wow. To number 33, Holmes, and a foul.
Now they're showing it was off the Mavericks, but I believe it went off the Razorsharks. So let's see if they change this call.
Yeah, because Butler said
think
I
so.
was nowhere near it. All right, we got timeout on the floor, so we're going to take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the action as our Kentucky Mavs are facing the #1 ranked Rochester Razorsharks. Right now, our Mavs in a 16-point deficit, down 34-18 to the Razorsharks. Still, 8:56 remaining in the first half, James.
Yeah, and this could be a crucial turning point here for the Mavs. Out of this timeout, like you said, 9 minutes left here in the second quarter. Go on a little run here and close that deficit that seemed to have been rising since the start of this game.
All right, the Mavs are going right to left on your radio dial. Currently in the lineup for the Mavs, Ben Vazola. Looks like Robert Crawford is making his appearance. We've got Jackie Butler, Nick Waddell, Anthony the Jet Jackson. Good lineup there. Let's see if we can't get some energy going right now because the Mavs are right now fishing for anything they can get to strike. Rochester will be inbounding the ball. Ivy to trigger the inbound. Gets it into the hands of number 12, James Helton. And we've got a foul called on the inbounds, it looks like.
Got a hold there on Robert Crawford before they even inbounded the ball.
Wow. Those kind of things you cannot have. It's like, yes, yep, it was called on number 44, so that is Robert Crawford. That is his first foul of the game, but the third for the Mavs overall. And they just look like they are lifeless right now, James. They've got to get some energy. They've got to find something to give them that spark. Otherwise, they're going to go down to be at a 20-plus point difference at the half.
Yeah, I know, and this is the last thing you want to do, send them to the free throw line here, get them some easy points. And it's going to start on this defensive end. They're going to have to start getting some stops. Otherwise, they can score as much as they want, but that's not going to bring them back in this game.
Helton at the line, who got the foul off Robert Crawford, converts on the first of first of two.
I think he caught a lane violation.
Oh, he caught a lane violation, so a turnover to our Kentucky Mavs. Right now, the referees are discussing what's going on. They're as confused as we are, and that's not good. All right.
Possession goes to the Razorsharks.
Okay, now we got possession to the Razorsharks. Okay, a little confusion on the floor there. So Ivy will be triggering the inbound for the Razorsharks. Coker, Holmes, and Helton on the floor, as well as Biggs. Ball triggered into the hands of Helton with a little floater, extending the lead. 37-18, 19-point lead with 8:47 remaining in the first half.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him looking at the Waddell here as he only had one attempt in that first quarter, and they're trying to find him, but this defense of the Razorsharks is all over us right now.
Yeah, Holmes overshot almost intercepted the pass, knocked it out of bounds. 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 8:40 remaining in the first half. Vazola triggers the inbounds, and Robert Crawford getting into it a little bit there with Helton. Helton called for the foul.
Great job there by Crawford selling that foul, showing the ref. Get him some free throws, maybe get him going.
Crawford was not in, surprisingly. He was not in very long after the start of the contest. Reinserted right at the first part of the second quarter. He's at the line. He will be shooting. Sizes it up, takes the shot, lets fly off the back of the iron and missed. Right now we are at the 8:40 mark of the first half remaining. Mavs down by 19, 37-18, but they do retain possession. Ben Vizzola to trigger the inbounds. Gets it into the hands of Crawford, working against Helton. Spins around, tries to get into the lane, ends up trying to throw it off the foot of the Razorshark, but it's intercepted by Ivy, who tries a long over-the-top pass to Coker. Could not control it, out of bounds, turnover back to the Mavs.
And the Mavs lucked out there as they kind of gave up on that play, didn't even get back on defense. And it's like you said, it's been written all over their faces, and they're really going to have to come together as a team to make this run back into the game.
Vizzola for three, and good. There you go. Right now we'll take any kind of lightning striking. Mavs cut the deficit, and I'm not used to having to say this. Mavs cut the deficit to 16 points, down 37-21 to the Rochester Razorsharks. Right now, Helton working against Crawford, pulls up, just inside the arc, has it stripped off the hands of the Razorsharks. Turnover to the Kentucky Mavs. And we're going to need a few of those to get us within, if we can get to single digits by halftime, James, that will make a big difference. But this big double-digit deficit is not helping us in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that's a start. And like we've said, you can't knock out the whole deficit at once. You got to do stop at a time and get good shots on offense. And it'll slowly start to creep back into. The fans will get behind them, and it'll be a close game.
Jets running the point, drops it down low to Waddell. Waddell working against number 33, Holmes, into the lane. Dishes off to Butler, but Butler is hacked as he tries to cut across the paint. Number 32, Josh Chichester.
I think they called that on Coker there.
They did call it on Coker. Now they had Chichester and Coker both pleading the contest. Now Coker was the one we had the issue with last time, and he's already getting a warning from the referees. So with that, Holmes up off the bench for the Rochester Razorsharks. Triggering inbounds, it's Waddell with a quick give and go. Boom! Zola, back-to-back three-pointers. And just like that, the Mavs are within 13, 37-24.
And the Razorsharks out of sorts there, not knowing who they're guarding after Coker causing a little bit of a distraction. And Zola takes advantage of that, getting it right back out off the inbounds.
Biggs for the three, missed, ends up in the hands of Chichester, but slaps it away off Robert Crawford, retains possession, back over to Biggs, back to Ivy. Ivy working against Vizzola, gets around the screen, tries to dump it to the top of the key. There's the Jet, back over to Biggs for a three, and he converts. 40-24, up by 16. Rochester, 7:03 remaining in the first half.
And that was a warm-up shot there for Biggs. Got a wide open, had all day to shoot it, so can't expect much out of that.
Waddell in the lane with the turnaround, a nice turnaround right-handed shot. And Waddell even looks in at Chichester like, yeah, I just did that on you, pal.
Yeah, good to see him get going, because once that happens, he's a monster down there, and he can get anything he wants against anybody.
Biggs into the lane. Nobody even picks him up for the easy right-handed layup. 42-26. The Mavs are just not rotating on defense.
They're really not, and it's been Devereaux Biggs, who's not really that much of an offensive threat typically, more known for his defense and his steals, but they're doing it as a full team effort right now, and that's kind of what the Mavs need to do.
Jet left corner gets it down to the left lower block to Butler. Butler backing down against number 33, Holmes, turns around, little four-footer off the front of the iron, rebounded by Holmes off the miss, into the hands of Biggs. Biggs across the timeline for Rochester. That was a nice attempt to try to thread the needle to Holmes, but Holmes could not control it. Out of bounds. Turnover to our Mavs. Right now the Mavs are down by 16. 42-26, 6:04 remaining in the first half. Folks, our coverage all season long of Kentucky Mavs basketball is being brought to you by our great friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. Mavs back on the attack. Ball into the hands of Vizzola. Working around the arc. Pulls up for another three. Oh, yeah.
Two.
Oh, yeah. It was a two. They gave him two.
Still, anything you can get at this point.
Right now, Vizzola accounting for the last 8 points for the Mavs. 42-28. Cut the deficit to 14. A strip by the Jet into the hands of Vizzola. Gives it back to the Jet. Pulls up at the arc. Almost stripped to Vizzola. Left corner to Crawford. He runs into the paint. Kicks it back to the Jet for a three. Off the back of the iron. Rebounded by Gerard Devon. Gets it to Vizzola. Beautiful work around the arc as Crawford pulls up for three, but missed. Almost gets his own rebound. I think he thought Rochester had tipped it. And he let it go out of bounds. Turnover to the Rochester Razorsharks. All right, folks, we're going to take time out for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN 1 Sport. We'll be right back.
The Mavericks will. The Mavericks will be right back. 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 The Ma
Welcome back to the Orange. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the exciting action as we are in a battle royale down here at the Sports Center as our Mavs play host to the #1 ranked Rochester Razorsharks. James, we're not used to seeing our Mavs, who are now down 42-28, 5:22 remaining in the first half, just look like they are completely and totally out of sync on both ends of the court.
Exactly, and had it not been for Bimbazola coming in and hitting a couple big threes, leading the way there on offense, Big G also giving a nice contribution off the bench, then this game would be worse off than it is. And like you said, it's all starting there on defense. They just look sluggish, getting beat on the ball, getting beat on backdoor cuts, giving up offensive rebounds and open threes. So can't expect to win like that, so something's going to have to change.
On the court for our Mavs, Anthony the Jet Jackson, Robert Crawford, Big G, Gerard Devon, Nick Waddell, and Ben Vazola, the man who has accounted for 8 of the Mavs, the last 8 points for our Kentucky Mavs. Rochester going left to right on the attack. Crouch working against the Jet. Ends up giving the ball up to number 11, Melvin Council. Council working around the arc against Vazola. Vazola tried to get streamed by Rayleigh, loses the ball into the hands of Gerard Devon, into the hands of Ben Vazola, who brings it across the timeline. Vazola working against Council, streaks in, lays in, 10 straight points for that man, Ben Vazola, cutting the lead to 12.
And he's getting it done there, and like we said, it'll start on the defensive end. Big G getting on the floor, getting that steal, and Vazola just taking advantage of his defender right there. Nice crossover to the bucket.
Just keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. Council down the left side of the lane, misses the layup, rebound by Waddell. Waddell's going to take it himself across the timeline. Gives it up to Vazola. Back to Waddell, who drives in the lane against the much taller Rayleigh. He's hacked, but they say it was just knocked out of bounds. So no foul, but possession remains with the Mavs. 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 4:26 remaining in the first half with our Mavs down by 12, 42-30.
Yeah, and that right there, just law of verticality. Rayleigh went straight up, but you see the Jet there knocking down a nice bucket.
And we're back
to 10.
They gave him 2 on that one, so we cut the lead to 10, and that's what you want to see. Keep your head in the game. It's all about composure at this part of the contest. The Jet working against Crouch. Crouch, though, with a nice little pull-up. 10-footer, beautiful shot.
They can't let it affect them, though, as they get off on the break here. Get a good free throw line jumper there for Big G.
Devon answers right back. 44-34. Razorsharks leading by 10, and the Jets picked up his defensive intensity against Crouch. He is not going to give him anything easy. Crouch with a Hail Mary layup, rebounded by Rayleigh, working the arc. Are the Razorsharks. Council for 3 off the front of the iron, but he gets his own rebound. Back up for the lay-in. He was looking for the and one, but the ref was not going to give it to him. He said, play on.
Yeah, and the Mavs got to get on the glass. It was almost like they expected them to hit the 3 there, and when they didn't, they had the easy offensive rebound, so you can never give up on the play.
Crawford tried to make it into the lane with the dish off to Waddell. Next thing you know, Waddell's on the floor. And in the middle of the scrum, Crawford is called for his second foul turnover. Back to the Rochester Razorsharks with the Mavs down by 12, 46-34. 3:23 remaining in the first half. Folks, do not forget, our Mavs are back in action tomorrow. You got no excuse. We know the NCAAs are on. We know Louisville plays early. We know Kentucky plays late. Come down to the Sports Center. Check out some great basketball with our Kentucky Mavs as they host the Chautauqua Hurricane. Just like that, 4-3. Number 11, Melvin Council for Rochester. Missed. Ends up in the hands of the Jet. Jet jumps it down low into the paint. Big G, Gerard Devon, tried the Hail Mary, turn around over the back top of the head, see if it goes in, but I'm at least going to draw the foul type of shot. Wow, what a long explanation there, James.
Yeah, whatever it takes. I mean, that was just great big play by Big G there, running straight from the other end of the court, straight to the basket, sealing off the smaller man, and great notice there by the Jet to feed him in there and draw the foul.
Ben Vazola triggers the inbounds into the hands of Anthony, the Jet Jackson. Back to Crawford, working at the arc. He's got that Mountain Council in his face. Crawford double team, over to Waddell. Back to the top of the arc for Jet for 3. Off the front of the iron and over the backboard. Turnover to the Rochester Razorsharks. We have a timeout on the floor, and with that, we're going to take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break. A 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the action as our Mavs are battling for first place. Right now, down by 12, 46-34, 2:48 remaining in the first half. And as we've been talking all game, James, we're just not used to seeing our Mavs looking out of sync on both ends because defense shutting them down, holding them to, on the offensive rebound, the defensive rebound especially, they're masters at it, and they just seem like they just cannot get their heads in the game.
Yeah, and I like how you said that, a battle, because that's exactly what it is, and not even a battle against the Razorsharks, but a battle against our own selves, trying to get something going here, and it's been a rough start. We see them with 34 points now, trailing 12, just under 3 minutes to go in the half, and the last time that we saw him here against the Razorsharks, they came out strong and had a 40-point first quarter, so this game means a lot, and they're really going to have to pick it up so they can take over that top spot if that's what they want to do.
Mavs in white with the blue trim down the side, the red high top. Well, some of them high tops. Of course, there's the Jets. Got to be different. He's got blue sneakers on today. Going right to left. Right now on the court for our Mavs, it's the Jet. Robert Crawford, Ben Vazzola, who has 10 valuable points in the last 3 minutes. Big G, Gerard Devon, and Nick Waddell, who we started to see a little spark in Waddell's face there. I want to see that. I want that intensity.
Yeah, he's the double-double man, and he's got those rebounds this half. He just hadn't had the shots. He's taken maybe 2 or 3 shots and hit one, so they're going to have to try and find him, maybe force the initiative to get it into the paint to him.
Council working around the corner of the yard, trying to work against the Jet, ends up being kicked off the shin of the Jet out of bounds. Possession retains with Rochester, 13 seconds remaining on the clock. Triggering the inbound, gets it into the hands of Rayleigh, that guy working against Big G, Gerard Devon. Back to Rayleigh for the high screen. Allman gets caught up at the free throw line, dishes it off over to number 15, Vasquez, who ends up converting on that shot. 48-34, 2:18 remaining in the first half. And to be honest, right now, James, we get it down to within single digits. I think it's going to be a successful first half after such a bad start.
Yeah, that's got to be the goal. Get it to single digits before the end of this half's going. And like we've said, that's going to start on the defensive end there with Vazzola getting the steal.
Gets to the Jet. Jet in between 2 defenders. Splits it down the left side of the lane. Goes up for the out-of-control lay-in rebound into the hands of Allman across the timeline. Pulls up for 3 for Rochester. Misses. Gets his own rebound. The Mavs are not even getting back on transition defense.
Yeah,
that's
they
a
were
bad
expecting
thing.
the Razorsharks to finish on that fast break and just decided not to get back on defense.
Crouch working, gets the high screen from McGill, then goes in for the little 10-footer pull-up jumper. It gently rolls around the rim and drops, extends the lead to 16, 50-34. 1:29 remaining in the first half. The Jet gets the high screen from Waddell looking for the give-a-go, but there's that man, Big G, Gerard Devon, pulls up for 2 off the top of the key. Missed, rebounded into the hands of Council. The Council, 2-2 numbers, but everybody gets back in transition. Allman for Rochester for 3, and he drains it unopposed, nobody in his face. Just like that, they extend the lead back up to 19, and it's like 6 points in the last 20-some seconds. Just giving up with not a single Mav in the face of the Rochester Razorshark shooter.
And I know, and it just like we said, we think that the Mavs are fighting back in it, getting a little close, and then sure as we know it, the Razorsharks just put it on him, and I felt bad there for Big G in that possession. It seemed like he was the only one rotating and getting a hand out on the shooter. Everybody else is just kind of standing around waiting to see what happens.
And they're just giving them wide open shots because you look around in the Mavs defense, they're not doing good on their rotating. They're not good on their rotation.
Exactly.
So there's a guy by himself, be it Almond, be it Council, be it Crouch, whoever. They're wide open and they're getting an unopposed three, and they are converting, which is the reason why they were up by 19, 53-34. Mavs back on the attack. 103 remaining in the contest. Crawford tied up, gets it to Vizzola, dumps it down low to Waddell, trying to work on the lower block, turns around, knocked out of his hands by Rayleigh, off the foot of Holmes, out of bounds. Possession remains with the Mavs.
Need a big bucket here. 55 seconds left.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
Yep, like to see a nice bucket. Be aware of that shot clock and then get back, get a stop, and get another one. Got to chip away at this lead, get some momentum going into half.
Vizzola inbounds the ball, ends up in the hands of Crawford. Back to Vizzola.
Got to see the shot clock.
Oh, missed the shot clock with the ball stripped, and there's that no transition again. Almond with the behind-the-back pass into the hands of Council, and now they're just showing off. And it's I'm getting to be a little frustrated right now.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the players are feeling right now, and I'd hate to be in that locker room at halftime because it's going to be a lot of people going at each other, I feel like, because they're trying to get this team together to battle.
Oh, we had a moving screen there. Knocked the jet down, but nothing called. Crouch runs the full length of the court, ends up getting knocked out of bounds by Big G Gerard Devon, who goes over to him to make sure he's okay. There's Rayleigh. Everybody's good. Nobody hurt. But right now they're trying to talk about what possession it should be, the Mavs ball, and finally the ref decides, yes, it is the Mavs ball, but we are down 55-36. 26 seconds remaining in the first half, 24 seconds on the shot clock, 2-second differential. Waddell gets the ball across the timeline. He is hacked by Crouch as he tries to split two defenders.
And I do know one thing, coming into this second half as we wind down here in the first 21 seconds left, they're really going to have to battle, and they can't just try and get it all back with one possession. It's going to take time, and they're going to have to fight possession at a time.
Yeah, you can tell there's a lot of impatience going on right now with the Mavs, but they've got to retain their composure. That's the only way to chip away. 2-second differential between the clock and the shot clock and the game clock. 5 seconds remaining on the shot. The Jet, top of the key, working against Crouch, gives it up to Vizzola. Up. Nope, they said he did not get it off in time. Shot clock violation. And unceremoniously, he's going to give him 0.2 on the clock. So we might have time to get 0.2 or 1.2 seconds have been put back on the clock.
And all that allows you to do is a tip in. You doesn't have time to collect the ball and get a shot up, so they're just going to have to tip something towards the goal.
And they try inbounding, and nobody's there with Crouch.
Oh, count that.
No. Did he give it to him?
There's no way that you can count that. 0.2 seconds on the clock. You do not have time to catch and go up with a layup.
Because one referee made an indication for two, and I want to see, did they give that to him?
They gave it to him.
They gave it to him. And just like that, once again, no help defense, no rotation by the Mavs. Even the fans are stunned right now because we go into the half. Our Mavs down by 21. Rochester leading 57-36. James, I'm stunned.
I am too, and I figured, 2 weeks off, I've been raring to get back in here, see our Mavs play, and they're just not showing up tonight. Something's got to change over this halftime.
There is something going on with the Mavs because you can see it in their faces. They just do not have that fire. They look extremely confused, and it concerns me because they're not rotating on defense. They're not getting back. On turnovers or transition. I mean, it's kind of sad to see how they look like they're just totally and completely out, like they've totally forgotten their basketball skills.
Exactly. They're not themselves tonight, and it's just, as you were going through the list of things they're not doing right there, it seems like they're just not themselves because you can't pick up one thing. It's going to be hard for Coach to point out one thing that they're doing well tonight. They're going to have to make some huge adjustments.
All right, folks, we're going to take time out for a 3-minute commercial break. When we come back, my man James is going to recap the first half stats. Nothing going to be looking too pretty for our Mavs, but he will go over those as soon as we remind you our coverage of Kentucky Mavs basketball all season is being brought to you courtesy of our friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. We're going to take time out for a 3-minute commercial break, and when we return, James Herzog will have all the highlights after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Mavs fans. You're listening to ESPN Owensboro 102.7 The Game with James Herzog. Kevin Porter taking a quick timeout. Just want to give you a quick recap of this first half of the game tonight between your Kentucky Mavericks and the league-leading Rochester Razorsharks. It's been a rough night tonight for the Kentucky Mavericks, coming off their second loss of the season to the Bootleggers last Thursday night. It looks like it's carrying over to this game, as this first half has just been all Razorsharks. They lead our Kentucky Mavs 57-36 by 21 at the half. And just to break it down for you, I mean, the Razorsharks, they're shooting 55% at the half right now, and it's been all uncontested baskets. Mavericks are struggling to get back on defense, giving up offensive rebounds. And for the Razorsharks, Melvin Council's leading the way with 14 points. Devereaux Biggs has provided a nice spark off the bench with 10 points as well and 3 steals. And for the Mavericks, their only hope tonight has been Ben Vizzola. He came in off the bench providing 17 points. That's a game high, 17 points for the Mavericks on 7-11 shooting. But as a team, altogether, the Mavs are only shooting 35% here in this first half. So they're going to have to get their act together to turn it around here in the second half if they want to have any chance of taking over that #1 spot in the league going into the playoffs. The first quarter, he had 25-15. And then the Mavericks came out in the second, showing a little bit of fight. But the Razorsharks had an answer to everything the Mavericks threw at them. Came up with 32-21 there in the second, pushing to, as I said, 57-36 at half, where we stand right now. We're going to take time out for a quick 2-minute commercial break. But when we come back, we have a familiar voice sitting in here with you. And Kevin Porter will be back as well to discuss this halftime. Just a reminder, you're listening to 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro.
Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the action as our Mavs are in a death match right now against the Rochester Razorsharks, down by 21 points, 57-36. Still got about 5.5 minutes remaining at the half. I do want to apologize to all of our listeners. We're having some technical issues. Our monitor went down here at the Sports Center. So thanks to Super Sam Mays back at the studio. He's keeping us in queue as to when we're supposed to be coming out. So we're going to be a few seconds off here and there. But just let you know, the main thing is we're going to get you all the highlights. Once again, our coverage all season long is being brought to you courtesy of our great friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. They're sitting at our corporate table tonight. They're having a blast. We've got David and Deborah Kramer, the Craig family, Mike, Nikki, Ivy, Jesse, and Rose. Right now, joining me at the mic is a man I did all last season with, who's now up in Indianapolis, Indiana, making that big-time money, none other than my co-host last season, Ben Parsley. Ben, first Mavs game of the season. You're not used to seeing this kind of play from the Mavs.
This has just been different. Honestly, I'm glad to be back on radio with you. I'm happy to be on air. It's fantastic. Yeah, this is not what I'm used to. I was sitting over there in the stands. I'm just like, what am I watching? I'm not saying it was bad, but it wasn't what I expected.
Well, and the Mavs
You can say it was bad. You can say it was bad.
Now, James and I can tell you all season long, the Mavs, every aspect of the game is just worked to a T. Yes, they ended up losing the first game to Ohio and their second game Thursday to Ohio. But all season long, they have just fired on all cylinders. We got great additions of Stan Simpson. We got Hagan in the lineup now, and they just look like a dominating, unstoppable juggernaut.
Well, I've noticed that's a lot of different players I'm not used to seeing. Again, like you said, I'm in the big city, Indianapolis, so I'm not quite used to seeing these players. But the meshing just doesn't quite seem like it's fitting tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
What I've noticed, again, I'm a big numbers guy. I remember last year I went to the halftime numbers thing. There's 5 assists for our team, and there's 11 turnovers. They have 9 assists on 13 turnovers.
Yeah.
They might have more percentages there.
Exactly. And the Mavs are not getting back on their transition.
No.
They're not working off the screens. They're not rotating. It's just they seem to be out of sync, hopefully. During the half, James, Coach Steve Tucker, came up with something to try and get these guys refocused for the second half, because right now we're down by 21, and we have got to have a hard push and have got to open up the first couple minutes of the second half really showing something strong.
Yeah, he had to. But at this point, I mean, there's only so much coach can say, coach can do. It's really come down to the players and their internal will and what they really want out of this game. If they want to show up and do what they're supposed to do. And I liked how Ben noticed that the team's not meshing well, because that's not what we've seen out of the Mavs this season. They had so many new players this year, and it seemed like right away they just meshed well.
Fit right in, because they brought on Josh Johnson, they brought Robert Crawford in. They put him immediately into the starting lineup, Ben.
No drop-off.
Then they get Stan Simpson, his first game. He's the leading scorer at 24, follows that up with 20 in the second matchup. But tonight, they just seem like this is the first time they've actually met each other. And there's just got to be something going on that we're unaware of, because we've never seen them be this disorganized on the court on both ends of the floor.
And of course, I haven't been here all season long. Has Jackson been playing the 2-guard the entire season? Is that like a normal thing?
Since Chris Hagan came in.
Just since Hagan came in, the Jet had been running the point. What they were doing was they were going with the Jet. They were going with Josh Johnson, Robert Crawford. They would start up with Jackie Butler and Nick Waddell.
Right.
Waddell got moved to the 3. It took him a couple games to get his legs under him, and then he just started firing.
Well, you noticed last year, remember, everything ran through Jackson. Everything ran through the Jet.
Until they started experimenting with putting Corey Wilford at the 1 and Jet the 2, and that seemed to work well for him.
Correct. The difference is you have 2 sharp shooting guards at that point, not a pure point guard in. So together, they were both a double threat. What's going on tonight is Jackson's your top point, your top scorer, normally was last year at least. Mm-hmm. What I know is he can still put the ball in anytime he wants to.
Yeah.
But I feel like he doesn't feel like he's getting the ball in his hands enough. It's like taking the ball out of Russell Westbrook's hand and not letting him score.
Well, one thing we noticed early on in the game is that he was forcing it way too much. He was going in and ill-advised against 3 defenders, still trying to get something off instead of dishing it. You draw 3 defenders to you, there's going to be somebody open. Right. But he was still trying to finish, and it was just looking really awkward out there.
Yeah, and I like what Ben was saying there. The Jet's been operating on the ball from the point guard position all year, and it just seemed a little out of sort there, throwing him at the 2. Maybe switch up the rotation there a little bit with with the Jet coming in at one time and then Hagan coming in for him, because them both on the court together just wasn't working out that half.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a little more of Corey Wilford. Last year, once he got into the team and he started the 2-guard pretty much all season last year once he got in.
Yeah.
That he was one of our best scorers, pure shooter, just opened the court up. What's happening is you notice there's no driving lanes because there's no shooters on the court until Vazola comes into the game and opens it up. Like, you got to space the court a little bit.
Yeah, and they look to go for the high screens, and the screener seems to always be late to the mark. So the guy's stuck out there. He tries to cut too soon. The screener's not even there yet, so they end up tripping over each other. And we've had 3 turnovers off of that already.
For the second half, I would just like to see more point guard play from the Jet and more high screen rolls, like right on top of the keys. He's splitting the defenders. This is going to open up his corner shooters. They're all shooters. They all can make it.
They can all do it.
I'd like to see Jackson on the high screen and roll with either Vazola or Waddell or even Vaughn.
Yeah, they need to get Waddell going.
They get Waddell rolling. So
yeah, just three shots in that first half.
All right, folks, we are ready to get back to second half action as our Kentucky Mavs are down by 21. Yes, I know you're not used to hearing that, but they are down by 21 points to the Rochester Razorsharks, a team that are a half game back in the PBL. Now, the Mavs, during this half, will be going right to left on your radio dial. The Mavs wearing white uniforms, blue stripes, blue numbers. The Rochester Razorsharks wearing blue uniforms, black stripes, black numbers, which makes it really tough on me catching their numbers all the time. Ben Parsley, my partner last year, thank you so much for sitting in, my friend. We're going to get you back on hopefully before the end of the season.
I'm going to try to come in for the playoffs, so look forward to seeing me again.
Ben Parsley, thank you for joining us, my man. Take care and get down there with that lovely girlfriend of yours and enjoy the second half.
Thank you.
We are back to play. Mavs going left to right on the radio dial. Jet running the point. On the floor, Big G, Gerard Devon, Mike Crane, Nick Waddell, and Ben Vazola, who had 10 valuable points, keeping us in the game. Gerard Devon from the free throw line and does convert it. That's what you want. Strike quick with a great screen to free up Gerard Devon.
Open free throw line jumper. He can knock that down with ease, and I like how he came out here with a different starting lineup. You know, you got to do something to get this game turned around in our direction.
Crouch working the ball, dumps it down low to Council, who pulls up for the 3, answers right back. That's another thing we can't be doing. We cannot give 2 for 3 all night long, and otherwise we'll never cut into that deficit.
And that's, again, Melvin Council. He had 14 first half points. He's been doing it all for the Razorsharks tonight. We're not used to seeing that. We're used to that great guard play, and he's giving us Mavs some problems.
Devon into the lane, working against Rayleigh, goes up the shot, missed. Rebound by Waddell, goes back up. He gets hacked and will be going to the free throw line. Melvin Council commits the offense, sending Big G, or Nick Waddell, to the line. Folks, we're going to remind you our coverage is brought to you all season long by our great friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling, the official sponsor of our Kentucky Mavericks and home of the best price guarantee. We will be back on the air tomorrow. Remember now, this is a doubleheader weekend. We got tomorrow, 4 p.m. tip-off against the Chautauqua Hurricane. And with that, Waddell, who normally is money from the free throw line, misses the first of the bookends, so there will be no bookend this time for Mr. Waddell.
Yeah, it's strange to see him miss that. I mean, we don't see him miss much, period, whether it's free throw line or around the basket. So. And
we saw a momentary spark in his face where you can see that fire.
First bucket he got,
Yeah. For the second one is up, and he does convert. Mavs down by, I hate saying this, 21, 60-39. 10:57 remaining in the third quarter. Crouch running the point. Ends up giving it up to number 11, Council, for 3 from the rim, rebounded by Waddell. Mavs need a good possession. They've got to convert on this. They can't go down and come home empty-handed every time. The Jet from 12, back of the iron, missed. Ends up in the hands of Gerard Devon in the paint. Little over the top of his head. There you go. I'll take it sloppy. I don't care.
He's definitely showing a lot of fight. I mean, he's coming in tough with 2 offensive rebounds there. And, yeah, maybe a little sloppy getting it back up there, but we'll take it.
60-41. Rochester going right to the left. Tried a little give and go with Rayleigh and Council.
There he is.
Intercepted by Vazola. Look at Vazola with the steal. Over to the right wing. He's working against Allman. Gives it over to Waddell. Thinks about pulling up, drives into the paint, goes up. He's hacked on the arm, nothing called. Ball bounced around, ends up into the hands of Crouch. Just like that, Mike Crane is called for the foul. Got a little overzealous trying to slow down Crouch.
Yeah, and Waddell just really confused how they didn't call a foul for him down the other end. And
he had 3 guys grabbing his arms, and nobody committed a foul. How does that happen?
As if being down 19 isn't frustrating enough. You got struggling to get calls there in the paint.
Cancel triggers the ball inbounds into Crouch for Rochester, going right to left on your radio dial. Council running the point, gives it into the hands of McGill. McGill around the arc, fights off the screen, decides to hold it, gives it to Rayleigh. Rayleigh right back to Council, drives into the lane. Smacked away on McGill into the lane, smacked away by Gerard Devon. Devon is in there doing workman tonight.
Yeah, he's here. He's definitely here tonight. Coach T, you see getting fired up, moving out of the coach's box. But we got to like what we see out of Big G. He's definitely shown up here in this game.
Oh, and just like that, what you do not want to see, there was only 4 seconds on the shot clock, but
offensive foul.
Offensive foul against Allman. All right, so he pushed off the defender and was called for the foul. Looks like Waddell got into his head a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll take that offensive foul, not only get them in foul trouble, we'll get the ball back. As the Jet brings it up the court, we got to see him get going. I like what Ben said in the first half. He just was really struggling off ball, so hopefully he can get his wits back under him handling the ball.
Gerard Devon at the free throw line, decides not to shoot, drives down the lane against Rayleigh, misses, back, rebound into Rayleigh. Rochester Razorsharks on the run out. It's that man who, once he lights it up, Crouch, you do not want him to get the hot hand. Dumps it down low to Rayleigh, working against Gerard Devon in the low block. Rayleigh in the lane, turns around, powers up, converts, extending the lead to 21, 62-41, Rochester leading our Kentucky Mavs.
And you got to see some help defense there. Big G was obviously getting back down under the basket. Somebody, whether it's a guard or the other postman's got to go over there and dig and show some rotation.
Waddell working in the paint, kicks it back out to Crane. Crane down to the left elbow, steps out to the left part of the arc, pulls up for 2. There you go. We got to have somebody with a hot hand. We cannot have Vizzola and Waddell being the only 2 getting it done on the court. And just like that, they do not get back. They allow Crouch to go straight in, unopposed on the lay-in. Jet trying to answer back. He goes in, but he is called for the travel. Well, no, they called him for the foul.
Push-off.
They called him for the push-off, and unfortunately, it looks like he also might have jarred his wrist a little bit. He's holding that right wrist.
Yeah, and he was the one that got beat there on defense, and then trying to take advantage of numbers on offense, a little out of control. So you can't have that type of play out of your point guard. They got to be bringing your team together and getting everybody on the same page.
Well, we talked about composure. If your point guard is not composed, and the rest of the team's not going to follow suit, so that's not a good thing. We got to see that changed. And with that, there's a steal. It's a 2-on-1. Vizzola going in unopposed, lay-in against Rayleigh. 64-45, 8:13 remaining in the third quarter. Now the Mavs are going to try and pick up full court. Gets the ball intercepted by the Jet. Jet gets it to Waddell. Waddell goes in. And he gets the and one, will be going to the line. That's what you want to see. If you got to do workhorse job, get it done that way.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you can. I mean, with first place being on the line here, you got to lay it all out there. And that was exactly what the Jet did there after the quick bucket, putting that pressure on that inbounder there, drawing that steal, and then I was just happy to see them give that call to Waddell. So maybe him talking to the refs the last call worked out for him.
Looks like the Jets' wrist issue is something serious because he's been taken out of the games right now. They brought Chris Hagan up off the bench, Waddell at the line, trying to convert on the and one, cutting the lead to 16 should he convert. And he does. There you go. That's what you want to see, that pure stroke by Nick Waddell, who's always reliable at the free throw line. 64-48, 16-point lead by Rochester on the run out. Getting that ball across the timeline. Very fast, number 11. Council with the ball. We're sitting around the arc. Kicks it out to Crouch, who's almost at midcourt working against the new acquisition for the Mavs, Hagan. He pulls up for the shot. Crouch, he missed the almost a fight on the floor between Gerard Devon and Rayleigh. Ball knocked out of bounds, and it looks like possession will remain with the Rochester Razorsharks.
There he is again, Big G, just all over the ball there, diving on the floor. I mean, that's what it takes in a game like this.
Mavs are going left to right on your radio dial. Rochester right to left conversely. Mavs wearing their white uniforms with the blue lettering, blue trim down the side. Right now down by 16, 64-48. 7:39 remaining in the third quarter. Coach Tucker is right in front of our broadcast table. His voice is already almost shot. He's done more yelling in this contest, and he's been warned by the referees. He needs to get back into the coaching box.
Yeah, he's trying to rally his troops. They're not doing a nice little a run right here. Got to keep it up, keep up the intensity so that it doesn't let off and try and cut into this lead.
Allman for three, and he converts. It was so pure.
Yes, it was, and that was a design play, out of bounds play. Coming through, and the defenders just closed right there on the elevator screen, and he was wide open.
And the Mavs, their help rotation on the defense is just not there tonight. Big G working against Rayleigh, pulls up for the 8-footer. He's hacked by Rayleigh, will be going to the line, but right now our Mavs are still down. Cannot get this deficit cut to single digits. 67-48, 7:15 remaining in the contest. Up off the bench for the Rochester Razorsharks, Sidney Holmes will be coming in as soon as Big G takes his first free throw. Ball is up and rattles it home.
Yeah, and I spoke a little bit on the halftime. It seemed like the Razorsharks have had an answer for anything that the Mavs throw at them. Any punch they have, the Razorsharks are right there with another three or an open layup, but that was a heady play there about Big J to draw the foul.
Now, people listening may not understand that this is the third time we played Rochester this season, and we have dominated them both times. That's why we're having a hard time understanding why our Mavs seem out of sync tonight, because they faced them a couple times before. They know what to expect. Hagan working against Crouch, almost trips him as he's trying to get it across the timeline. Crouch down the lane, lays it up, but no good. Rebound by Big G, gets it in the hands of Mike Crane. Mike Crane pulls up from the left wing, dishes it over to Hagan, who's come in for the Jet, who apparently injured that right wrist. Almost a high screen, but now he's being double teamed. Big G wide open, and he gets hacked by number 4, Crouch.
Yeah, he's got to keep this, make sure, Chris Hagan's got to make sure he keeps his head up there, see the trap coming, his teammates got to call that out, and make sure he keeps his head up so he can see the open defender, or the open teammate.
And unfortunately, that one was on Hagan. He kind of walked himself into a corner. We can't blame Rochester for that, but Hagan has the ball again after the inbounds. Hagan working almost at midcourt, about 3 feet top of the arc, takes off down the lane, throws it up off the iron, no good, rebound Holmes. And now Rochester's on a run out, pulls up for 3, and unfortunately, Allman converts. Up by 20. The Mavs on a quick run out. Big G Gerard Devon tried with the reverse layup, gets hacked by number 33 just into the game, Sidney Holmes. He will be going to the line, but right now our Mavs are still down by 20, and we are not able to make any kind of an effective cut into this lead, James.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, these guards for the Razorsharks, Corey Allman, I mean, you cannot let him get an open look, whether it's in the fast break or in the offense. He's looking to set up and get a three-pointer, and he's been doing that uncontested. And when it's like that, he's going straight through the net.
Gerard Devon converts on the first of 2 free throws. He's sizing it up. I love how he gets up on his tippy toes when he shoots his free throw, though. And converts on the bookends. Mavs cut the lead to 18. 70-58, 6:28 remaining in the third quarter. Crouch for the Razorsharks works it across half court. Razorsharks the lane, right elbow, pulls up, converts on the jump shot. Back up to 20-point lead. 72-52, 6:12 remaining in the third quarter. Hagan running point for the Mavs, just into the contest for the Jet, who hurt his wrist apparently. Dish it over to Josh Johnson, back into the lineup. Little give and go with Waddell working in the paint. He's tied up by Rayleigh, kicks it back out to Crane into the hands of Hagan. Hagan working against Allman, and he converts on the 3. I'd like to see a few more of those goals go down.
Yeah, no, and maybe have to bring in Corey Wilford, the three-point specialist. But it's not none of it's going to matter if we keep on giving up easy buckets like that on defense.
And what have we been saying? The last 2.5 quarters, they're not rotating on their defense, and it's leaving somebody wide open every time.
Yeah, it seems as Chris Hagan throws the ball away there, it almost seems like they think since they're down so much, they got to score so many points. But like we've said, it really doesn't matter. If they're not getting stops, that lead's going to keep getting bigger.
All right, we're going to take time out for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the action as our Mavs for the third time this season are playing the Rochester Razorsharks. Believe it or not, the Mavs have played and defeated the Razorsharks twice this season. Once at home, once at Rochester's home up in New York State. But tonight, James, they just look totally and completely out of sync. They're down by 19, 74-55. 5:29 remaining in the third quarter. Now, we will remind everybody, we do have another matchup tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. tip-off against the Chautauqua Hurricane. Now, folks, we know there's a lot of NCAA March Madness going on. Me and James, we've been obsessed with it all day. We both watched Villanova get ousted today. Great matchup. Wisconsin really took it to them, held in to the end to squeak out the win. But in between tomorrow's early morning U of L game and Kentucky's late afternoon game, come by the Sports Center. Check out our Kentucky Mavs as they play host to the Chautauqua Hurricane. Our Mavs on the court right now going left or right on your radio dial. Conversely, it's the Rochester Razorsharks going right to left on the court for our Mavs. Josh Johnson, Big G, Gerard Devon, Mike Crane, Nick Waddell, and the new guy, Chris Hagan. Council with the ball back in action for Rochester. Almost pulls up at the free throw line, but there's Josh Johnson. Dumps it down low to Rayleigh. Spins in the lane. Off a little bit, but rebounded by number 33, Hidney Holmes. Intercepted by Hagan, but loses the ball off his foot. Back into the hands of Crouch, who gets it across the timeline. And there it is. There it is. Number 33, Sidney Holmes. There is no help defense. They're just leaving these trailers wide open.
Yeah, it almost looks like they're conceding, and to do that so early in this match, I mean, still 5 minutes left in the third, a whole nother quarter to play. They're not getting back on defense, but I mean, that's what they've been doing all game.
And when they're trying to get these insertion passes, they're not even making them crisp. They're just kind of like loafing them in there, and they're easily slapped away by the Rochester Razorsharks.
Yeah, and instead of taking this adversity and coming together, it almost looks like they're spreading apart, and that's not what you want to see out of our Mavericks.
Big G still fighting hard, jumped into the lane against Rayleigh, went up for the shot, he gets hacked. He will be going to the line to shoot two. But we have got they called that one on Holmes, actually. Holmes is looking as confused as we are because it looked like Rayleigh was the one that hacked him. Holmes is like, really, me?
I think they just corrected that. Big G made sure of it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mavs down by 21. Yes, folks, I know you're not used to hearing that, but the Mavs are down by 21. Big G at the line for two. Big G has a great stroke. Love the way he gets up on his tippy toes when he shoots his free throws. The ball is up and good.
Yeah, a little unconventional there, but I mean, everybody has their own free throw routine, so whatever works for them, as long as you get in the repetition there in that shot, it's whatever. I mean, you see people shooting underhand, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of guys are actually going back to that underhand thing because it's actually correcting a lot of shooting technique errors that they can't seem to fix.
Yeah, they show that there's it's a lesser range of motion just going from your waist up to the shot as opposed to all the elbow and shoulder action of a regular jump shot.
Mavs down by 20, 76-56. Rochester going right to left back in the attack. Coker back into the lineup for Rochester, who's pretty much been on the bench since about midway through the second quarter. Crouch pulls up for three for Rochester off the side of the iron, but he almost gets his own rebound. Ends up knocking it out of bounds, fighting for the ball with the Mavs, Josh Johnson. And it's like once the shot's taken,
they're not boxing out.
They're not boxing out, and when they see the ball come off, it's a missed shot. Nobody is getting to the rebound.
Yeah, they got to find their man and box them out and then release and go get the ball. And instead, as soon as the shot goes up, it's like they're releasing to try and get down the court for the fast break, and you can't do that.
Mavs back on the attack. Andrew Christian with the ball top of the arc, dumps it down low under the block into Josh Johnson, working in the paint. He goes in and is hacked prior to the shot, but will be going to the line. Sidney Holmes for Rochester called for the personal. Nope, not going to the line. It will be a side out, and it will be Josh Johnson to trigger the inbound. Up off the bench for the Kentucky Mavs, Jackie Butler getting ready to come into the contest, the former NBA star with the New York Knicks and San Antonio Spurs. He's got that ring from 2007 championship as well. I keep trying to get him to break it out so I can see it, but he won't. He says, you know what? I got to get to where I can trust you a little bit better.
That's understandable. And
there you go.
I guess you were right. I mean, the refs were a little confused, but you knew he was supposed to be going to the free throw line.
I thought he should be there.
Of course, what do I know? One there.
Right, what do I know? Josh Johnson knocks down the first of two. Mavs down 76-57. The shot is up by Josh Johnson and does convert. Mavs cut the lead to 17, 76-59. Just under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Crouch across the timeline. Got ahead of Hagan. A little loose ball action, but ends up in the hands of number 11, Council. Kicks it back over to Crouch. Crouch gets it. Tried to go over the top to Holmes, but Andrew Christian is called for the foul.
I'd like to see a little more out of Andrew Christian. He's usually that player that comes in and does everything with a lot of energy, and even him, we're not seeing that out of him tonight. And he's usually getting on all the loose balls, getting the rebounds, and getting out in fast break. And we're not seeing it.
Inbounds for the Rochester Razorsharks. Ball into the hands of the Crouch. Gets the high screen, but a moving screen from Coker. Called for the foul. Almost knocked Chris Hagan to the ground. Turnover to the Kentucky Mavs. Still down by 17, 3:40 remaining in this contest. Folks, we want to remind you, we'll be back on the air tomorrow afternoon at approximately 3:45 p.m. Pre-game as our Mavs host Chautauqua before going back on the road this Friday. Jackie Butler working in the lane, working against Coker, actually gets it stuffed by Coker. Turnover, back to Rochester. Crouch kicks it over to the corner to number 2. Corey Allman misses a 3, rebounded by Mike Crane. He's 3 Rochester Razorsharks get back really quick. Cuts him off. Crane gets it over to Hagan, over to Christian for 3, and off the back of the iron. Jackie Butler pulls down the rebound. Now Hagan for 3, and that's off the front of the iron. Rebound. There is just no energy to their shots even tonight, James.
Yeah, they're all falling short. I mean, that's the best time to put up a 3 off the offensive rebound, and it just wasn't falling.
Council goes in against 3 Mavs. They it was almost like they just tried to make it look good by jumping up in the air.
None of them hit the ball.
None of them even hit the ball, yeah. Mavs back on the attack. Josh Johnson for 3, front of the iron. It's like they're giving up. They're not even trying to work down low. They're just all taking 3-point shots. And Coker ends up with the ball on the breakaway. Easy lay-in.
Just a minute ago, it was a 17-point lead, and you got to realize with still a whole nother 12-minute quarter, ahead of them. That's easy to come back from, but they're not if they're playing like this.
You know, and the Mavs are just stunned. I mean, Rochester is just taking it to them. All right, folks, right now we're going to take time out for a 1-minute commercial break with our Mavs down by 22, 80-58. 2-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog bringing you all the action as our Mavs are in a fight tonight. And it's not just a fight against the opponent. Apparently it's a fight against themselves because, James, they are just totally out of sync offensively and defensive. It's like they have forgotten the basic tenets of playing basketball. And just as I say that, Andrew Christian hits a 3.
Yeah, maybe we need more of that because if you can take the 3, that'll cut this lead down quick as they get into 19 points.
And the problem is that's all they've been doing is taking 3s, and they're not even going after the rebound on a missed shot. And unfortunately, not many of them are dropping. Coker pulls up top of the key. He does convert on the two. Now I'll give them 2 for a 3 all night long. We can still keep hacking into that deficit, but we are still down by 21, 82-61. Minute 50 remaining. Ben Vizzola on the court pulls up for 2, and he does convert. That helps.
He's been getting it done tonight.
The only 2 guys we've seen any real energy out of on the court are Big G, Gerard Devon, and Ben Vizzola.
Yeah, and Waddell's been getting rebounds and stuff, but he hasn't really been able to find it on offense, and they're going to need some other kind of spark because it takes more than just 2 players when they're down this much.
McGill drives into the lane. For Rochester, the little floater gets the drop. 84-63, 122 remaining in the third quarter. Ben Vizzola pulls up for 3. Yeah, baby, yeah. Let's get BV to start converting. He'll put the entire team on his back.
Exactly. Once he sees one go in, he's definitely a shooter. He's not a set shooter, as you see. He gets a lot of lift and likes a little fade on his shot, but he can score with the best of them.
And this guy's got a 40-inch plus vertical jump, too. When he gets up there, he gets up. And just like that with the steal, the give to Christian, who gives it back. Back to Josh Johnson. Oh, they tried one pass too many, but ends up getting knocked out of bounds by Rochester. The Mavs will retain possession. 19 seconds on the clock, 54.9 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Mavs down by 18, 84-66.
And they've looked better coming out of that timeout. Looked a little bit energized, and it helps that Ben Vizzola came out looking for his shot.
Hey, and if all of our energy comes to fruition in the fourth quarter, I'm totally fine with that. Vizzola triggers the inbound into Hagan. Hagan looks for the screen, waves it off for Jackie Butler, drives in. He's hacked, does not get the lay-in. The rebound into the hands eventually of Ivy for Rochester. Gives it over to McGill. McGill pulls it back up top. He runs the play, looks for the high screen from Coker. Goes around into the lane against the much taller Jackie Butler, but back over to Ivy, who pulls up for 3, and he converts. And we know Ivy in that last matchup here, Ivy went off.
Drew the foul there, Josh Johnson. But like you said, yeah, they're guards. They can really shoot it, and they're showing it off tonight. I mean, that was a pretty contested shot. I mean, you can't fault the defense there. That's just a better shot.
Right now, the score with 29.5 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 87-66. Rochester leaving by 21 in the third meeting between these two teams this season. And if you look at the end of the season, everybody is still expecting the PBL championship to go through the Mavericks and the Razorsharks.
Yep.
But if you're going to lose now, not during the postseason.
Right. I mean, you'd like to get that number 1 seed, but like you said, we pretty much got the playoff set there with Ohio and Jamestown rounding out the top 4. But I mean, you need that number 1 spot. That home court advantage does a lot.
19-point lead for Rochester. Biggs down the lane, ends up getting hacked. As he. McGill, I'm sorry. Was it? Wait, I got confused.
That's Biggs.
That is Biggs. Yeah, that is Biggs. Biggs got hacked, and he will be going to the line for Rochester. Rochester going right to left on your radio dial. Now, folks, we want to remind you our coverage all season long is being brought to you by Short Seating and Cooling, the official sponsor of our Owensboro, Kentucky Mavericks, and home with the best price guarantee. Call them today at 270-691-1001 to schedule a maintenance check. And with that, Biggs converts on the first free throw to extend the lead to 20. 88-66, 15.4 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
And, I mean, the Mavs with only 68 points right now. Hopefully they can get to 70 here going into the fourth, but we're used to seeing them hit that century mark, and they're going to have to pick it up if they want to do that.
Mavs back on the attack. Vizzola with the run out, working against 3 Razorsharks. Works around the arc into the hands of Hagan for 3, off the front of the rim. Rebounded by that man, Biggs, 25, who throws up a Hail Mary 3 as time expires in the third quarter. And at the end of 3, our Mavs are down by 21. 89-68, folks. We are going to need one heck of a fourth quarter to come back and pull off the victory for our Kentucky Mavs. We're going to take time out for a 2-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center as our Kentucky Mavs are 12 minutes away from the end of the third meeting this season with the Rochester Razorsharks right now down by 21 points. We return to play. Biggs working against Fazzola. Gets the high screen from Coker. Ends up giving it up to a little floater from Helton, but no good. Rebounded by Butler into the hands of Ben Fazzola, pushing it up the court. Fazzola across the timeline. Dumps it down low to Josh Johnson. Johnson pulls up for three. And off the back of the iron, rebounded by Ivy for the Rochester Razorsharks. Folks, we do want to remind you, and we thank you for bearing with us tonight. Had some technical issues. We lost our monitor from down here, so we were flying blind. But a big thanks to Sam Mays back in the studio for keeping us as coordinated as we possibly can with these modern cell phones, man. I'm telling you, these things are pretty sweet.
Yeah, when one thing goes down, there's always a backup, right? And we'll take it however we can get it. And with you saying how getting into this fourth quarter, I mean, that third, we noticed a little bit of a difference there, and the Mavs actually tied the Razorsharks in that third quarter.
That's what I was going to say.
Points.
Here's the surprise. We actually tied in scoring 32-32 in the third quarter after being down by, we were 11 deficit, 32-21 the second, and 10 points in the first, 25-15. I'm still kind of shocked. We tied them at 32 apiece.
Yeah, we finally found our offense, but, I mean, like we've spoken on all game, it's the defense that the Mavericks have stuck to all season. I mean, they're second in the league to the Razorsharks here tonight in defensive field goal percentage. They're used to holding teams to 40%, and tonight, I mean, the Razorsharks are shooting 56%, so they're not hitting the mark there.
Anthony the Jet Jackson back into the lineup for the Mavs. Waddell on the floor, gets the pass knocked away, intercepted by Helton, who gives it to Ivy, back to Coker, down the lane, misses the layup off the side of the iron, being fought for, almost grabbed by Robert Crawford.
No.
Oh, and that was off of Ivy, but they said it was off of Crawford's foot. So, possession remains with the Rochester Razorsharks, going right to left on your radio dial.
And he turned that over to the sideline ref, who, whenever the ref underneath the basket had the better
standing
look.
right
I don't know
there.
how he could, how he would ask for help from the sideline ref, but whatever it takes.
Ivy triggers the inbound to Coker. Coker gives it up to Biggs. Back to Ivy, pulls up just inside the three-point arc, does convert, extending Rochester's lead to 24 points, 92-68. Mavs right now going with the Jet. Anthony, the Jet Jackson, Ben Fazzola, Nick Waddell, Robert Crawford, Jackie Butler, clearing it out so the Jet can go one-on-one with Biggs, and the Jet ends up losing it off his foot.
Yeah.
Out of bounds. Turnover back to the Rochester Razorsharks.
Yeah, he's been struggling all night on shooting 1 of 8 and sitting out most of that third quarter there after hurting his wrist. He hadn't been able to get it going.
Ivy running the attack for Rochester, left elbow, gets it. No, he tried to do a little give to number 32, Josh Chichester for Rochester, but after he received the pass, took about 3 steps. And a foul was called.
Yeah, they called a little push there on Waddell.
Yeah.
I think he got tripped up and ended up running into Chichester there. Chichester for Rochester.
Chichester from Rochester. Ivy gets the inbound, pulls up for 3, off the front of the iron, almost gets his own rebound, tried to tip it over to Council, or to Helton actually, but it's intercepted, and right like that, Ivy intercepts it from the Jet, who seems just totally out of whack.
Great hustle there.
Made the mistake of going up against the 7-footer. They say he's 6'10", but Jackie Butler's like 7 feet. And Butler's like, nah, get that out of here.
Yeah, and I mean, Ivy driving in there with no regard for Butler, thinking that he was just going to have an easy lay-in. I don't know how he would expect that with him right there underneath the basket.
Rochester back on the attack. Helton working against Robert Crawford, pulls up for 2, off the back of the iron, rebound by Butler. Gets the ball into the hands of the Jet. Jet pushes the ball across the timeline, looking to go down into the lane, into the paint he does. Throws it up, a little Hail Mary pass. Will be going to the line for and 1.
And you really like to see that drop for the Jet with the way he's been struggling tonight. It's good to see a player of his caliber who is used to running this team get a nice play going there.
Folks, we want to remind you, we'll be back in action tomorrow as the Jet misses the and 1. 3:45 p.m. pregame as our Mavs host Chautauqua. Rochester back on the attack. Coker with the ball, gives it up to Helton. Helton gets it back to number 25, Biggs for Rochester. Gets the high screen from Coker, but he's working against a much taller Waddell. The Jet comes in from behind with a partial block, gets his rebound back up, but is called for the foul. Anthony, the Jet Jackson. right now, the Mavs down by 22, 9:35 remaining in this contest. We just need one good flurry of scoring. We can cut into this deficit, James.
Exactly. I mean, 9.5 minutes is a long time. It's just, I know we believe it, but the players got to believe it themselves, and they got to come together and make a late push here.
And the good thing that works out, it was a foul, but it stops the clock. And the more time you have on the clock gives the team from behind more opportunity to come from behind.
Yeah, and so that's really what we need to see out of the Mavs on offense, driving in the basket, trying to draw fouls and get those easy free throws, but as well as stopping the clock.
Biggs at the line converts on the second of two to extend the lead to 23, 93-70, 9:33 remaining. Mavs across the timeline. Vizzola working from the right wing, tries to drive to the free throw line, gets tripped up by a couple of the Rochester players. Looks like they're going to be calling it on Coker. We'll give the foul.
Vizzola was bailed out there. I mean, it didn't look like they had any kind of offense set up. He just had the ball and was trying to make something of it because he's been the hot hand. I mean, you got to have some type of motion going. You can make it a lot easier for him.
Yes, you can. Robert Crawford triggers the inbounds into the hands of Anthony. The Jet Jackson Crawford all the way across the lane, gets the ball back, blocked. Had two Rochester Razorsharks in his hand. Ends up in the hands of Waddell, goes up. It's blocked by Coker. He's called for two quick fouls. And it looks like he will be going to the bench. He has 5. But, and now he's getting mouthy with the referee. Come on, we don't need to see that.
I mean, there's no need for him to be complaining like that.
No. See, the referee is just like, come on, guys, let's keep it calm down now. It's no need for ugliness.
And there's no need to complain. I mean, the refs made the call. He's not going to change his mind, and he's definitely not going to give them any more calls this game. They're up 23 points.
Waddell at the line. Mavs down by 23, looking for anything they can do to start cutting into this lead. Waddell went for the shot, but there was a foul called, or there was a whistle before he put the shot up. And right now the referee is still talking to the head coach of the Rochester Razorsharks. Now, we had issues last time they were here. It got ugly. It ended up getting ugly between the coaches and the staff. We don't need that now. I mean, you're up by 23. There's no reason to try and add insult to injury.
Exactly, and I think that's just speaks to this rivalry. I mean, it hasn't been much of a close game tonight. The Mavs have fought back in it, and the Razorsharks pushed it back up, but no matter the score, I mean, this is a pretty heated rivalry, and they're always going to go at it.
And they're still factoring on it. These being the two teams that are going to play for the championship. So Rochester, after getting, let's be honest, they got smacked around by the Mavs the first 2 times they met this year, are looking for a little payback.
Yeah.
Trying to get into the heads of the Mavs, knowing they will face each other again in the postseason.
Yeah, and they're also looking for that home court advantage. I mean, making the Mavs have to come up to Rochester 2 games there out of that 3-game playoff, assuming the Mavs get past their first round matchup,
which will be the Jamestown Jackals on the 2nd of April. We'll remind everybody that's also 97X Rock Night. The Viking, Jordan Rose, and Pick Your Poison will be having 97X Rock Night. And just like that, Ivy against the Jet. Jet with the steal and the put in. And we also, wait a minute. He gets the lay-in.
They called a warning.
And he gets called on a warning.
He spiked the ball after he got the lay-in. I mean, it was a great high-intensity play. Just practically took the ball away from Ivy and then big-bodied him right underneath the basket. Just showing a little emotion, obviously letting out some frustration.
All right, we got timeout on the court by the Rochester Razorsharks, and we'll take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game, ESPN Owensboro. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog, the voices of Kentucky Mavs basketball, and we are in a tough one tonight, folks. We're not going to try and sugarcoat it, believe me. We're down 93-74, 9:02 remaining in the contest, and our Mavs, there has been nothing about the most basic of basketball fundamentals tonight that is working for the Mavs, James.
Yeah, nothing's really stood out for him aside from Vazola coming in and just
Big G
everything's
during the
been dropping
workhorse.
for him. Yeah, and Big G coming
He's
in
been
showing
doing
a lot
the
of
blue
energy.
collar work tonight.
Exactly,
Yeah,
all over the boards, all over the floor. But as far as their offense, I mean, there hasn't been a go-to play or a go-to motion that they've had. It's just been give it to the hot hand and hope he can produce for him, and that's not going to bode well for the remainder of the game.
Rochester going right to left on the radio dial with just under 9 minutes left in the contest. Ivy takes the ball end to end, tries to go up, ill-advised, intercepted by Butler, gets to Crawford. Crawford gets tied up, almost gets stripped, but number 25 Biggs called for the hack on the arm of Robert Crawford.
And that was a good defensive possession coming out of the timeout. I mean, 9 minutes, it's going to be tough to relinquish that whole deficit, but I mean, you got to do everything you can to make a push and make it a tight game.
Yeah, the Mavs have got to play full out. If they've got energy left in their legs, it has to be full out this last 8:46 of the contest because they are down by 19. Just like that, the Jet goes down the baseline, runs into Rayleigh, loses the ball out of bounds. Turnover back to the Rochester Razorsharks. Folks, our coverage all season long is being brought to you courtesy of our great friends at Schwartz Heating and Cooling. Call them today at 270-691-1001 to schedule a maintenance check. And a big shout out to a bunch of the Schwartz family here tonight, David and Deborah Creamer. And they told me it's Creamer, it's not Kramer. They said Creamer, like coffee creamer.
They had to pronounce that.
They had to tell me that right. The Craig family, Mike, Nikki, Ivy, Jesse, and Rose. And as always, we want to give a big shout out to a good friend of Coach Steve Tucker, who listens to all of our broadcasts. Former NCAA Division I assistant coach and NBA assistant coach Gerald Oliver. Coach Oliver, as always, our best wishes to you, my friend. At the line for the Rochester Razorsharks that are up by 19 right now is Chichester. Converts on the first free throw to extend the lead to 20. 94-74, 8:25 remaining in this contest. Jackie Butler, who just has not been able to get it going all night long. He's had a couple good blocks, but that's about it. Big G, Gerard Devon, he's been doing the blue collar work tonight. Yep. This guy is diving on the floor for rebounds.
And that's a big guy to be doing all that,
yes,
too.
Yes, he is.
No fear, diving on for the ball. You got to like that out of a team.
And that's with that right shoulder of his. It's a little tweaked right now, so it's a little tender, but he's got the brace on it.
Yep, no fear.
The Jet back onto the court, trying to force his hand, gets down the baseline, in the hands of Waddell. Waddell with the put in. Mavs down by 19, 95-76. Rayleigh for Rochester brings it across the timeline, gives it up to Ivy, and that Ivy, he has got that shooter's hand. If that thing gets going, we're really in more trouble than we already are.
Yeah, they really have a three-headed horse there with him and Crouch and Allman. They can all stroke it.
Chichester down the lane with the missed shot. Waddell and Big G go up against the much smaller bigs for the rebound, but Gerard Devon, Big G, only his first foul of the game, but he's called for the foul, so Chichester will be going to the free throw line for the Rochester Razorsharks. Folks, we've got to remind you now, there's only 4 games left in the Kentucky Mavs season. They play tomorrow, the third from last, against the Chautauqua Hurricane. We'll be on the air at approximately 3:45. Then they go on the road to play the Hurricane again at Chautauqua this Friday before returning back home next Sunday to host another contest as well. Now, on April the 2nd, that will be the final game of the Mavs regular season, but that will also be their play-in game against the Jamestown. The playoffs, yes. The Jamestown Jackal is also 97X Rocks Night. My man, Jordan Rose, the Viking, will be on hand, hosting all festivities, and we're going to have Pick Your Poison right here, playing pregame and at the half. So come out and enjoy some rockin' round ball. April the 2nd, as our Mavs host Jamestown, and just like that, Robert Crawford, but he said his foot was on the line, so it was called for 2. 96-78, 7:33 remaining in the contest. Ivy pulls up for a little 12-footer, does convert. He is a pure shooter, James.
That's been the story of the night. Anything the Mavs throw at him, the Razorsharks have an answer, and it almost seems like they they got out to that quick 15-0 start, and it was just almost way too hard to fight back.
Mavs back on the attack. Crawford loses the ball. It is knocked out of his hand by Helton. Biggs with the ball at the left wing. Pulls it back out, waits for the rest of the team to catch up. Biggs, top of the key with a give to Rayleigh. Cannot get the handle on the ball, loses it out of bounds. Turnover, back to our Kentucky Mavericks.
Yeah, that was a little lack of communication there on the ball screen, not knowing what to do, but luckily Rayleigh wasn't ready for the pass, and the Mavs take advantage.
Mavs back on the attack, tried to get a little screen from Waddell Crawford, ends up in the hands of the Jet for 3 off the back of the iron, rebounded by Rayleigh. Gives it up to Ivy. Ivy pushes up the lane, almost intercepted by Big G, but it ends up getting kicked out of bounds by Chichester. Turnover back to the Kentucky Mavs. The problem is they're looking a little out of sync right now, but we've never been able to get in sync the entire game.
Yeah, I hadn't been able to take advantage of it, and it's all started with our point guard play. I think Jackson's just been kind of out of sorts, trying to almost will his way back into this game, and it's just not working, and they haven't been playing as a team, really. They've been trying to each do it on their own.
Robert Crawford from the right corner pulls up for 3, and it's good. 98-81. Mavs down by 17. Keep chipping away, fellas. You got to keep at it.
Got to string some stops together here, build up this momentum, and get the crowd into it to make a late push.
Yeah, we need a couple possessions or trips down the court by Rochester, just like that, blocked by Gerard Devon. Into the hands of Waddell. Oh, into the hands of Vizzola. Jet gets it, goes up against the much, much taller Chichester, and Chichester is called for the foul.
Hopefully we see Jackson shaking up there. Hope he's all right and come back in, knock down these free throws. And it was a great stop there on defense, and we need to see more of that here to finish out this game.
We got timeout on the court, and with that, we're going to take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be right back. We are back at the Owensboro Sports Center where our Kentucky Mavs are down. Yes, I know you're not used to hearing that from our Mavs. They're down by 17, 98-81 to the Rochester Razorsharks. 5:58 remaining in the contest. At the line for our Kentucky Mavs, Anthony the Jet Jackson, and the good thing is he converts on these two, and we stop the clock.
Exactly.
The clock running is our enemy at this point of the contest.
Yeah, we got to use all the time we can wisely, and that's why we like him driving to the basket to get these free throws.
Jet missed the second of the two, but gets his own rebound. Oh, and runs into a collision. Looks like, yep, a collision with Helton. And
just adds to the night that we've had here. Just frustrating altogether.
Rochester across the timeline to Rayleigh, gives it up to Allman. Allman working against Big G, goes down low against Vizzola, almost stripped away into the hands of McGill. Back to Allman, back to Helton for the three. Missed, rebound by Waddell, almost knocked out of his hands. Advances it up the court to Crawford for the fingertip roll. 98-84, down to 14.
Got to keep chipping away.
Gotta keep chipping away, and a come behind like this would be legendary in professional basketball, being down by as many as 22 at one point.
Exactly. We've seen some of the fans count them out here, but we got the faithful sticking around, hoping for anything but a comeback here.
Allman tried to lay it up against the Jet. Jet called for the foul. Allman for Rochester will be going to the line.
Anthony Jackson, his third.
Yeah, and, we stopped the clock there, but we can't send guys like Allman to the free throw line. We got to keep getting those stops. Had a couple there in a row, and it's just going to take more than that.
Right now, the Mavs leading by 14, 98-84. 5:15 remaining in this contest. Allman at the line for the Rochester Razorsharks. Corey Allman's shot, first is up, is good. 99-84. Unfortunately, I'll let them be first to the century mark as long as we come from behind and end up winning at the end. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I would take that, definitely.
Folks, we will be back in action tomorrow hosting Chautauqua. 3:45 approximate airtime in the pregame. Tip-off set for 4 p.m., and you can make the contest. I don't want any excuses. Louisville plays early. Kentucky plays late. The Mavs play right in the middle of those two contests. Just like that, Robert Crawford for the Mavs for 3 off the back of the iron. Rebounded into the hands of Biggs. Gives it up over in the corner to number 2, Corey Allman.
He's found his shot. I mean,
He is
not that it was
it.
not that he ever lost it, but
Yes.
he's been on tonight, and there's not much you can have to answer to that.
103-84. Mavs down by 19, 4:47 and counting on the clock. And right now the clock is the biggest opponent the Mavs have because they're running out of time. And beautiful up and under by Big G. Gerard Devon will be going to the line for an and one. Plus, we stop the clock.
Yeah, they showed a lot here in this second half. Like we said earlier, with them tying in the third quarter, it's just they haven't been able to come up with those big defensive stops, and then it really just comes down to the Razorsharks getting out to that 15-0 lead from the get-go. I mean, it's hard to beat a team, especially whenever they're the top team in the league, when you spot them 15 points to begin the game.
At the line, Big G, Gerard Devon looking to convert on the and one, and he does. 103-87, Mavs deficit 16 points with 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the contest. Rochester working the ball across the timeline. They do so successfully. Allman working against Fazzola, pulls up for the 8-footer. He converts. He's, like you said just earlier, James, he's feeling it. He's got his touch. You're just going to have to keep the ball out of his hand, otherwise he will convert anytime he touches it.
Yeah, he wasn't allowing his team to come in here for a third time playing him this year and lose 3 in a row. So he's doing all he can to make sure that doesn't happen.
Gerard Devon converts on a response with a 2-point bucket of his own. Mavs deficit 16 points, 105-89, 4:02 remaining in this contest. Mavs back in action tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. tip-off against Chautauqua. Crouch goes in against 3 Mavs, loses it, rebounded. There we go. We need to convert on this one. The Jet goes in against a much bigger Rayleigh, gets the lay-in, cuts the lead to 14, 105-91. Still plenty of time on the clock, James.
Yeah, and I've been a part of a comeback like that. We were, my freshman year, down 10 to Northern Kentucky in the conference tournament, and we're able to come back and win that game in overtime. So it's definitely possible.
And there, once again, it struck again. The Mavs did not rotate on their defense, and it was a wide-open Crouch with the lay-in. Easy lay-in, unopposed. Robert Crawford working against the aforementioned Crouch, dumps it off to Gerard Devon. Back out to Fazzola for 3. Fazzola drains the 3. 107-94. 3:08 and counting in this contest.
And you'd love to see that they're putting forth that effort. They just got to do it on defense as well. I mean, last possession, giving up an easy layup. You got to dig in really on defense and get these stops. Otherwise, it's all going to be for nothing.
Rayleigh with the ball, working high against Gerard Devon. Gerard trying to hold him off, gives it up to Crouch. Crouch working against Robert Crawford. Almost with the strip, we got a switch. Crouch a much bigger. Waddell smacks it away. Then into the hands of Anthony, the Jet Jackson. He gets knocked down by McGill, but who is not called for the foul.
Luckily, we got saved by a timeout there. It looks like Coach T was about to get into some trouble vying for a foul there on Jackson as he got laid out. But I think as opposed to the foul, the ball was clearly off Jackson, but they gave the Mavs the possession since they didn't call the foul.
Our Mavs down 107-94, 2:42 remaining in this contest. We're going to take timeout for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be back in 1 minute. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, where our Mavs are in a big-time war with the #1 ranked Rochester Razorsharks, now down by 13. They have been down by as many as 22. They've cut the deficit to 13. 2:42 remaining in this contest.
Have the ball right now. This would be a huge possession.
We know Rochester was going to bring their best performance. We've already beaten them twice this year. And especially when we went up to Rochester and beat them at home, that stung. And they were looking for some serious payback. But our Mavs, they're still in this contest. They cut the deficit to 13 and have possession. Ben Vizzola inbounds the ball to Anthony DeJet. Back to Vizzola across the timeline. Vizzola gives it up to Crawford, pulls up for three. Oh, off the side of the rim. We needed that one, wanted that one.
That would have been huge.
That would have been huge. Out of bounds, turnover to Rochester. Still plenty of time on the clock, folks. 2:29 remaining in this contest.
The Mavs are almost like Rocky in those Rocky movies.
Almost a steal by the Jet on the inbound. Almost smacked it away from Crouch. And he did. Turnover off of Crouch's foot.
And they're just, like I said, they're getting knocked around all game, but they're just not giving up, and it might pay off here in the end.
Vizzola gets it into Waddell. Waddell working in the paint. Spins. Oh, he's hacked. And the ball is hacked out of bounds by Rayleigh. We will retain possession, but 21 seconds on the shot clock. Vizzola one more time to trigger the inbound. The Mavs feverishly trying to cut into this lead. The Jet pulls up for three. Oh, off the flat, but he gets hacked by Rayleigh. So he will be going to the line for a trifecta of free throws.
Still a chance. There's still a chance.
There's always a chance as long as the Mavs are in the game.
Yeah, they could cut it to 10 points here. Still almost 2.5 minutes left.
The thing about the Mavs is that all they have to do is be on the court to have a chance. The first shot is up by the Jet. It's good. 107-95. Deficit cut to 12. 2:21 remaining in this contest. And I don't know who's pushing harder for this to happen, us or the coach. I'd say the coach probably.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, that is
his job.
Yeah, he's trying to get that win.
And it's more than that. This is his baby. He helped start this team. He is the president of the company.
And he's getting the fans on the edge of their seats. They're trying to get this comeback.
Boom.
Point.
Boom. Cut it down to 10. Converts on all three. The Mavs looking to pressure. Crawford gets it across the court into the hands. Back over to Council. Council looking to eat some time off. Looking for the high screen from Rayleigh. Waves it off, but stays with it. Around the corner, the give and go to Rayleigh. Rayleigh goes in, puts it in.
That was
107-97. 109-97. 156 remaining in this contest. Vizzola working against Allman. Vizzola gets it down low into the hands of Waddell. Spin move. Uses the goal to block the defender. Up and under. Cut back to 10. Now we got full court pressure. With a steal. With a steal.
Out of bounds.
But he touched the out of bounds line. 147 remaining in this contest. Mavs have cut the lead to 10, 109-99. Going for the full court press. Crouch, double team. Gets the ball back into the hands of number 11. Council, who's working against Vizzola, gets it across the timeline. He waves off Crouch. Going one-on-one with Vizzola. 135 remaining in the contest. Into the paint, down the baseline, back to McGill for three. Off the side of the backboard. Rebound in the hands of the Jet, who gets to Crawford. Crawford down the paint, rolls it up and in. Down to 8, and that's it. The Rochester coach has seen enough. Timeout, Rochester. Mavs have cut the lead to 8, 109, 101, 122 remaining in this contest. We're going to take time out for a 1-minute commercial break after we remind you you're listening to Kentucky Mavs basketball on 102.7 The Game. ESPN Owensboro will be right back. Welcome back to the Owensboro Sports Center, everyone. Kevin Porter, James Herzog, the voices of Kentucky Mavs basketball. Bringing you all the exciting action as our Mavs, who at one point were down by 22, have cut the deficit to 8 points, only down 109-101 to the Rochester Razorsharks, a team they're a half a game behind in the PBL standings. 122 remaining on this contest, and after that last flurry of sequences, the Rochester coach had seen enough, and he called a long timeout.
Yeah, and I think he had actually seen enough to play before that when they cut it to 10, but was going to see if his team could work it out, and they didn't with the Mavs getting that bucket, forcing it to only an 8-point lead. They're definitely feeling it. I mean, they thought they had the win, as many people did.
Yeah.
And as the Mavs have been getting closer and closer, it's going to be weighing on them.
We started with about 2,500 people. Some people thought gave up and left, so we're down to about 1,500. Shame on you for leaving, because if you miss this contest, you are going to regret it, because the Mavs are cutting into the lead. Rochester, inbounds, immediate foul, play.
Yep.
Gerard Devon grabbed Rayleigh, who he's not a great free throw shooter, but it stops the clock.
Exactly. Coming down with a minute and 20 left, you kind of got to either get a quick steal, try and go for a quick steal, or send him to the free throw line and then get a quick bucket on the other end.
Rayleigh for the first one goes up off the back of the iron. There you go. No harm, no foul.
Smart play, heady play there by Big G. Obviously, Coach T knew what he was talking about there in that last time out.
Yeah, stopped clock is always the biggest opponent of the team that is up. And like that, he misses the second one. Rebound into the hands of Waddell. 1:16 remaining. The Jet across the timeline. Gets it over to Vizzola to the right wing. Back to the Jet, top of the arc. Works it around the left side. Crawford for two. It's good. The lead's been cut to 6. 109, 103, 104 remaining in this contest. Razorsharks feverishly trying to get it across the timeline, and they do. Crouch working against Crawford. Gets it down low, back out to Crouch.
Got to play it out now. Got to play it out.
You've got to. We need a quick foul or an unsuccessful trip down the court, and it rims out from Rayleigh. Rebounded by Vizzola. Mavs down by 6 across the timeline. The Jet pushes into the paint, goes up. Oh, it's missed, but rebounded by Waddell. Looks like he had a foul. It was not called. Council gets the ball for Rochester. Vizzola with the quick foul to stop the clock. Mavs down by 6, 109, 103. And we've got 34.6 seconds remaining on the contest, and
Waddell had enough. I mean, that was a crucial play. Would have sent him to the free throw line to bring it within 4, and the ref clearly blew the call. Once Waddell got teed up the first time, he didn't care. He was letting the ref have all he could have.
Yeah, because Waddell has been ejected from the game, but rightfully so, because the ref was standing right there. The guy basically tomahawk chopped him right on the shoulder, and the ref just let it go.
Yeah, that's a rough call. I mean, tough to be a ref in this situation with the Mavs coming back like that, but you gotta be able to make the right calls when you're right in that right position.
But I'm loving the energy of these Mavs. They are not giving up. They're not fighting. Looks like coming into the contest for our Mavs, Josh Johnson up off the bench. Nick Waddell has been ejected from the game for getting his second technical, but I gotta, you know, I didn't like him losing his cool because we need him. But he was right. He got hacked, and the ref just stood there looking at him.
Yeah, that's rough to send when the Mavs were surging back like that, to send them to their best free throw shooter to the line, probably pushing this lead up. But you can't be too mad at him. It's a tough to see, really.
And the technical is being shot and converted on by Allman. Double technical call, so he will be getting 2 shots. Allman gets ready to put up the second. Lead, 110, 1-3, up by 7. Hits the second, the lead, 111, 103, 8-point lead, 34.6 seconds left. And as long as you keep stopping the clock, James, you still are in this contest.
Yeah, that was just a rough one. Now he gets those technical free throws now to the line for his foul shots. It was looking like a pretty good comeback, and that one just really hurts you.
Right now, the Mavs 111, 103, 34.6 ticks remaining on the clock. At the line, now he shoots two is Allman. Allman sizes up the shot for Rochester, looking to extend the lead to 9. And he misses off the front of the rim. As long as the clock is not running, there's always a chance.
Yeah, we got to get a good box out here. If we get the rebound, I think Coach T's calling for a timeout to set something up to finish out this game. So let's hope this one doesn't go in and we can get this rebound.
Allman at the line. Corey Allman sizes it up, looking to convert on 3 of 4. The shot is up, and it's good. 112, 103. 34.6 seconds remaining in this contest, and because this is so tight, we're going to keep it right here, James. I love the effort I'm seeing from the Mavs. We did get a couple bad calls, or breaks, I would say, but still, you've got to get past that. You've got to get past it, and you have to keep playing.
Yeah, and that was just tough for Waddell. It was all going the right way. I mean, it was building up. The fans were getting behind the team. The Mavs had cut it to 6 points, and with that foul, had he gone to the free throw line and converted on both, it would have been a 4-point game, and I think that was just too much for him. He lost all emotion, and you can't fault him for that. You would hope to be able to hone in those emotions and finish out this game, but that's just a tough way to go.
The Mavs are down by 9, 112, 103, 34.6 seconds remaining in this contest. Now, folks, our Mavs, and they are our Mavs, are back in action tomorrow, 4 p.m. tip-off against the Chautauqua Hurricanes. 3:45 p.m. approximately, 3:45 p.m. pregame with James and myself, yours truly, Kevin Porter. We'll be on there bringing you all the exciting action. Now, I don't want to hear any excuses. I know it's March Madness, James, but we know the Cards play early, the Cats play late afternoon. Plenty of time to come down and enjoy our Kentucky Mavs playing Chautauqua because
exactly, especially if I mean Kentucky, yeah, they play Wichita State, but if they can get up early in that game, you can dip out early watching that, know that they got the win, and come and catch the Mavericks. After showing up tonight, I mean, we were just begging for it all night. Haven't been seeing the Mavs that we're used to seeing, and there they are. They show up here in this second half. And it's been good to see.
It is good to see because that's the team, that's the effort, that's the energy we're used to seeing from our Mavs, and I'm glad it came back.
And that's what it's going to take.
Late in the contest, but it came back, and that's all that mattered. We got the mojo back for our Mavs. All right, on the court, 34.6 seconds remaining. Our Mavs down by 9. We got Josh Johnson, Ben Vazzola, Big G Gerard Devon, Robert Crawford, and Anthony the Jet Jackson Crawford to trigger the inbounds.
Hopefully
into the hands of Vazzola. Vazzola tries for the 3, but he's blocked by McGill. Gets it over to the Jet. Jet working against Crouch. Too much time coming off the clock, but the Jet pulls up. Oh! Pulls off for a 3, but he only gets 2. 112, 105. Quick foul by the Jet. There you go. You got to stop that clock. 23.9 seconds. Mavs down by 7. A quick foul by the Jet to stop the clock on Corey Allman.
Yeah, when it comes down to that, Coach T is looking for the trap to try and get a steal, but if you don't get that steal right away, under 30 seconds left, you got to send him to the free throw line and just hope that he misses. I mean, you can't expect to play the defense out. Your time is against you. You got to send him to the free throw line and then try and get something on offense.
All right, here's the scenario, folks. Down by 7, 112, 105, 23.9 seconds remaining on the clock. Corey Allman for the Razorsharks at the line. First shot up and is good. Extends the lead to 8. 23.9 seconds remaining in this contest as our Mavs look to orchestrate a 22-point deficit comeback against the defending PBL champs, the Rochester Razorsharks. Allman's second shot is up and is good. 114, 105, 23 seconds left. We need a quick 3, any kind of quick bucket. The Jet across the timeline. In the lane, goes in, blocked out of bounds by Rayleigh. Possession remains with the Mavs. 16.8 seconds remaining in the contest. Shot clock has been turned off.
And like you said, at this point, 16 seconds. You got to be looking for a quick three. Two's just not going to be enough.
Into the hands of Crawford for three. Top of the arc on the inbounds, and good! 108, 114. 14.1 seconds on the contest. Quick foul. Foul, Josh. There you go. Josh Johnson with a quick foul.
You got to keep fighting. I mean, that was great find there for Zola. Crawford somehow wide open at the top of the key. Rains in the three. I mean, we got a 6-point game. If we can get some missed free throws here, this could be good.
This could be good. Johnson with the quick foul, sending Allman to the line. That guy's been spending a lot of time at the free throw line tonight. I wish it was somebody else because
he's got a nice
pretty
shot.
much an 80+% free throw shooter. So Allman at the line. All right, folks, here we go. 11 seconds exactly left in the contest. Mavs down 114 to 108. Allman, Corey Allman, a guard, 6'2", 180 pounds for the Rochester Razorsharks at the line. Looking to extend the lead to 7. Still time, and there's still hope. With the Mavs on the court, there's always hope. Allman converts on the first. Extends the lead to 7. 115, 108 remaining in this contest. 11 seconds remaining in this contest.
Maybe we can get a miss out of here. Got to push, get a quick three.
We got to get
still
down.
hope.
Yeah, there's still hope. There is always hope as long as our Mavs are on the floor. Allman's second shot is up, off the back of the arc. Rebounded by Josh. Immediate timeout by Big G Gerard Devon. Only one tick came off the clock. Very heady play there to immediately call the timeout. Only 1 second law.
I was sensing a miss there, so I don't know. Maybe I sensed a made three-pointer out of this timeout, and we got ourselves a chance.
Let me tell you, right now, folks, here we are. 10 seconds remaining in this contest. It's the #1 ranked Rochester Razorsharks up by half a game over our Kentucky Mavs. 115, 108. Rochester leading. 10 seconds on the clock. Now, James, we know you play KWC. You can get that ball up the court, across the line, and get a shot off in 3 seconds. That will still leave us plenty of time to operate, but we got to keep fouling immediately as Rochester inbounds to keep that clock from running.
Maybe look for a quick pull up here if they can't get that, something off a handoff or a ball screen. Once that goes in, like you said, you got to get that quick trap, hoping for a steal. If not, foul right away.
Coach Tucker drawing up a play over on the sidelines right now for our Kentucky Mavs. 10 seconds remaining in the contest. 115, 108. Rochester leading by 7. It is a 3-possession game. But believe me, in professional basketball, 10 seconds is an eternity.
Yeah, Coach T's really making sure that his players are paying attention here, get this drawn up, because it's going to be for a 3. Probably going to be coming off the double screen here, maybe try and close them off with the elevator screen. We'll see.
Robert Crawford to trigger the inbound. Josh Johnson, Big G, the jet, then Vazzola, into the hands of Vazzola, turns around for a 3, off the back of the iron, rebounded by Rochester. The foul, 5.2 seconds left in the contest. Unfortunately, that may have just done it for our Kentucky Mavs.
And that was a good look for Vazzola in the corner. I mean, he elevates a lot on his shot, so he can create some space to get that off. And it was a close shot off the rim, unfortunately. And but I mean, you gotta hand it to the Mavs for fighting back. Down 22 points seemed just insurmountable here in the fourth quarter, and to fight back like that, it shows a lot.
5.2 seconds remaining in the contest. Unfortunately, it is a 3-trip issue for the Mavs. So right now, with McGill at the line, it's kind of just sort of like, dotting the I, crossing the T. He does miss the first window, but it's a 3-possession contest for the game. And unfortunately, James, 5.2 seconds is not enough unless you can hit some kind of miracle 3-quarter shot.
But it's definitely been a championship effort, and he misses that.
And immediate. Whoa. We almost got a fight on the court between Rayleigh and Big G Gerard Devon.
Maybe we can get some technicals out of this. Some free
think we could.
throws.
I think a little technical payback is in order, don't you, James?
Well, I think I'm hoping they called the foul, because that means the clock doesn't start and we get free throws.
Rayleigh called for the foul.
And a technical.
And a technical.
So we might have a few free throws here.
Walking down to the other side of the court. Rayleigh's 5th.
He's going to have his foul shots, and he's also going to have the technical foul shot, and we'll get the ball back. I know there's only 4 seconds left, but
still, though,
this is better than it could have been.
This is a lot better than it could have been. We got Big G at the line to shoot 2. Mavs down by 7, 115, 108, 4.4 ticks remaining on the clock. Big G sizes up the shot. and rattles it home. All right, 115-109, lead cut to 6. 4.4 seconds remaining in the contest.
And that just goes to show you got to come out ready, because the Razorsharks were ready. They came out 15-point lead. Had the Mavs shown up early, this would be their game.
Yeah, that 15-0 initial early start of the game deficit, just never, ever able to overcome that. Big G with the shot, and good. 115, 110, 4.4 ticks. Need the immediate foul, but they're not fouling. Conceding the win, and just as Rochester takes the ball across the midcourt, just like that, it's over. The Rochester Razorsharks defeat our Kentucky Mavs, 115-110 in tonight's contest. Great effort by our Mavs. I love seeing them come back like that, James. I mean, they were down by 22. They fought back to only lose by 5, and a couple things, in our favor. Could have been a total different issue. Unfortunately, that technical on Waddell at the end, that hurt a lot. It gave them almost 4 straight free throws.